What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 218. I am your host, Ainsley Bowden, joined by only two fine gentlemen today, but you know them, you love them. Start with the guy on my right, Mr. Tie Guy Travis. Good morning, sir.
McClunky, and a good morning to you, my friend. Happy to be here.
That's way
happy
too,
to
way
not
too,
be here with Dan.
way too up with you. Yeah, you're taking his spot, so
it's Happy No Dan Day. I'm so happy and enthusiastic. What, guys? Is there something wrong with it?
Oh my gosh! But you are in his spot, so you have a big responsibility today.
Promoted.
Yeah,
it's called a field time promotion.
There you go.
War.
And the Hoeg himself, host of Virtual Legality, Lawyers and Dragons, and the Michigan Football Live Chat. Good morning, sir.
Well, we're doing good today because Michigan is 2-0. Go Blue, Wolverines. I know not all of you are Wolverines, but remember, nobody's perfect. I'm doing great this morning. I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm having fun. I'm playing Travis's most recommended game of the year. Can't stop playing. Just too addictive. Clear game of the year candidate. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. It's good. It's good to be here on the Bitcast, and I hope everybody in the audience is looking forward to a fun conversation.
There you go. And by the way, I keep reminding you that game of the year is already over. It's done. Like we can move on. It's finished, man.
I don't think it's in my top 10, Ains.
Because it was Madden 23.
Madden 23.
Madden
I thought that was agreed upon. Yeah,
we'll talk about Madden, definitely.
Okay, all right. As you can notice, if you're watching live with us here, Dan is not here. He is fine. Which someone asked me, is Dan okay? I don't know whether that was a joke or what.
Well, he never has been.
What do you define as okay is a whole nother question. So Dan is actually just on vacation with his family. He's chilling in Chicago, eating good food, eating fake pizza, and a number of other things. So
he's in Chicago. Get me some Super Dog, Dan.
Yeah. Oh, he's been there. So anyway, he's in Chicago. He's doing well. We used to record live from here. No joke.
Really?
Yeah. We used to record side by side.
Can I take a sidebar here for a second? Because Mrs. Hoeglaw is in our chat right now telling people that this is how I appear after a win, and you don't want to see me on this show when Michigan loses if you haven't watched me live during the football season. That is just offensive and outrageous slander, no matter its accuracy.
Well, we're starting to see Hoeg's losing side. There it is. It came out.
There it is. It's starting.
I've been a fantastic mood. You can't put me down.
Okay.
Nice. But it's going to be the three of us today. We're going to be talking about a bunch of things, so we can finally talk about Steelrising and Travis's review there. We've got Splatoon 3 is finally out. We've got some weird game called Dreamlight Valley. I'm going to let these guys talk to you about. We've got Ubisoft's event. We've got Disney's event. We've got more Cyberpunk, Battlefield. So we're going to get to all of that.
The Cyberpunk event. If you're looking forward to underwhelming events, we got a show for you.
Hey,
Ubisoft, Cyberpunk, football, all underwhelming. Very exciting.
You can't bring me down, Trav.
Wolverines. Oh, man. Don't even know what that is. I think it's a cat.
It's a guy with he's got claws that come out of his hand. It's an Insomniac.
Oh, that
game.
Guy. That one I know. Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to shout out. Thank you for we did get over 100 reviews on Spotify now. Thank you to anyone who's taken the moment to review. We passed that earlier this week. I'm going to be giving away $20 today. I haven't picked the winner yet. I said I was going to pick the winner on the show. I haven't, so there you go. But I will announce the winner later today on Twitter, so keep an eye for that. Just giving away $20 for anyone who posts a picture of leaving us a review on Spotify. So, but guys, let's go ahead and get into what we're currently playing. So, Travis, you and I have been talking about this offline for a few weeks now. And want to start with Steelrising, which is the newest game from Spiders, the team that did Greedfall. And I know that Greedfall was kind of like a AA hit, if you will. Many of us kind of appreciated what it tried to do or did. And we were looking forward to Steelrising, even though it's a much different game than Greedfall. So why don't you touch on your review, and I'll add my commentary, even though it's pretty much identical.
Yes. Spiders, you got to admire their balls. They make games that are just super weird, not like anything else you played, which is very exciting. And I'm constantly rooting for this team. When they came out with Technomancer and they tried to make like a BioWare game, essentially, I was like, yeah, do it. This seems weird. I want to see it succeed. However, they also have a reputation for maybe not always hitting that level that people are hoping in terms of production quality. Technomancer certainly reaches that, and unfortunately, though they did get very close with
Greedfall.
Just talking about it. Greedfall, thank you. The Steelrising appears to be not their best work, just in terms of the game design and the bugs and kind of polish to it and that sort of thing. But it is a very cool world, very cool story, very unique idea for a game, as they are wont to do. I gave it a 6 out of 10, which I think is which I think is fair, and it doesn't mean that it's a bad game. It just means that you have to deal with a lot of rough edges. That my recommendation to play the game comes with a lot of caveats, is how I would describe a 6 out of 10. And so if you really like Souls-likes for things like fast, quick, fluid combat, probably not the game I'd recommend. If you play Souls-likes because they're challenging and you die a lot, probably wouldn't recommend this game. It is very easy. But if you don't really...
You just say very easy. All right, I'm going to object to very
It
easy.
is very easy.
It actually is.
Right, it's
actually
not
is.
their master craftsmen. Let's talk to people that aren't Ains and Travis.
Sure.
Very easy on the grand scope of this dude played 400 hours of Elden Ring, and Travis complains that the dragons aren't hard enough in Elden Ring and everything else. If you're a normie, if you only play these games occasionally, if you like just trying to get through an area, you'll die plenty. Aegis dead, or whatever the hell it says on that screen, I've seen 50 times.
Aegis is broken. Yeah.
Okay,
I'll say when I say, like, if you play it because you love Souls-likes, I'm talking to the Souls-like players. Like, if you're a Souls-like diehard and you're like, this is more Souls-like, and part of what you like about Souls-like is they're challenging, you're probably going to end up like me and Hoeg. However, if you tend to not like Souls-likes, or they're not sort of your game, this is a pretty good entry point.
In Ains, I mean,
So yeah, I think Hoeg. For people who don't play Souls-likes because they like the Souls-like part of it, they play it because they want to experience the story, and they are disgruntled by the Souls-like kind of tropes, then probably a better game for you. It just, it has a very different audience, and it doesn't do a lot of the stuff it tries to do super well. Platform.
I actually don't think it's much of a Souls-like at all. I mean, I'd argue the problem is that it has the design elements and fronts as a Souls-like. It's actually still a Spiders game. It's very interested in codex and dialogue and storytelling. And they're just looking for an action format that they really like, right? So Greedfall tried a kind of Dragon's Age Inquisition. You've almost got them evolving in various directions to see what combat they can attach to these. I think they're most interested in world building and telling almost weird stories, right? Because Greedfall is fantasy colonial America. This is robotic French Revolution. I mean, like, this is what they do, is they do this weird stuff. To me, it's a means to an end. It's almost like you play a Final Fantasy game. I see you, Final Fantasy. Just get out of here. But you play one of those for the world and the story and the characters, and then, like, whatever the battle elements are, that's them experimenting, and maybe some are better than others, but it's just a means to an end. It's just providing a conflict point to get you into the game and not walking simulator. And so I seem to me, what I've played, and I haven't beaten it, so it could all fall apart. What I've played, it's more of a 7 out of 10. And I know this is numbers, right? Who the hell knows what Travis's 6 is compared to Hoeg's and whatever. But it's much closer to, this has real value. This has something that is interesting. It is interesting to play. It's fun. And then you say, this is what you get if you're a Souls player, and you should understand it's not hard for a Souls player. I would say this is what you get when you're a Spiders player. It seems to be exactly what I expect from Spiders. The advertisers, do you like Eurojank? Are you familiar with the works of Spiders and Piranha Bytes? If you're okay with that level of kind of clunkiness because you see interesting stuff and it's not the same Western slop that they peddle you over and over again from over your shoulder, then give it a shot.
Wow. I would probably say that you're both right. So expectations matter, right? And so me playing it,
No, not for a review. That doesn't matter. But go on.
Yeah. No. I mean, you and I are aligned on the review. We've talked about that offline. I mean, hell, I got bored with the game and stopped playing it, and I have other things to do. So I was like, I'm just going to tell people to read your review. I don't need to finish reviewing this. To Travis's point, if you are, and Hoeg, I think you're very fair in that it depends what you want out of the game, right? For me,
I would not go to it for its gameplay. I concur with Travis.
Yeah, and that's my thing, right? Like for me, if you're going to talk about combat mechanics that are trying to be Souls-like, I look for two things, and that is variety in enemy encounters and level design. And neither of those hit very well in this game. In fact, like I said, I'm literally like about 8 hours into it, 9 hours maybe. I haven't died, not one time. And that's only because, and that's not a flex or anything, right?
Put a video up of me dying to the first damn answer.
But it's, as Travis will tell you, right? Like I'm 8-9 hours in, and I'm fighting enemies who do the exact same animations that they did 5 minutes in, over and over again. So it's just incredibly predictable.
Yeah, I totally get that, and I think it's a mistake probably for spiders to push into that area because it takes more. It takes a skill set that they don't appear to possess. Because what they do have is a willingness to write interesting stuff that they say. I would actually have them pour all their resources into like voice acting and like polish on face animation stuff, like the stuff that they're aimed at. They're good at in terms of the story, but you are going to get voice acting from like the community theater kind of feel. It gives you that nice PlayStation 2 vibe of the acting, but like it's really good. It's an intrinsically fascinating concept. Wait, hold on. The French Revolution got weird because of crazy engineers started making robots. Okay.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It goes weird places too, but yeah, I would agree that it's almost like the thing the BioWare developer we had on where he was talking about table stakes features, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mark
it feels like there's a lot of table stakes stuff where they were like, well, this is kind of popular, let's put this in. But I will say, if you're going to have a kind of janky Souls-like game with robotic combat, they sort of chose a great setting for that, and I'm wondering if maybe that informed their decision on the setting. So yeah. So
I would love it if it played better. I would. I just don't. To me,
it's not as important to you that it plays.
I don't think you're buying these games. To me, did you buy Greedfall because it was set to have an awesome action RPG system? Because it has one, and the answer is no. Greedfall doesn't have a good action RPG system. It's what makes Greedfall worth playing is its dialogue and its world. And it's got all sorts of stuff in Greedfall that you can complain about. Asset reuse. Like I said, I love them because they seem like a really efficient board game designer that can't quite pay for all the shipping costs. And so it's like, we're going to use this tile and we're going to rotate it. And then if we cut this off, it looks kind of different. If we send you in this area, it's going to look kind of different. We can use this same tile for 14 things. I'm like, I respect it.
Yeah. I certainly agree with you that I respect the developer that's willing to try new things and do different things. I think we all agree there that this is not like something else you're going to go play.
One thing is Travis's review actually convinced me to buy it because he talked up the world building and the dialogue, and I don't regret it a bit. Like it was one of those where it's like you put, okay, you're buying this and you're like, this could go either way. This could be sour. And I'm like, oh no, this is from the trailers on. This is what I expected Steelrising to be. I have absolutely no greater delusions of grandeur for what Spiders could put out there as an action game. So it's like, yes, those are my boys.
And that is certainly a fair, that's a fair thing from a consumer's point of view who is informed on the developer and what they're buying. But when you're reviewing a game, you don't get to grade it on a curve because of where it came
Travis,
from.
I'm not. Your review's fine.
Budget.
Yeah, no,
I know. I'm just so explaining my positioning on like.
Don't get so defensive, Travis. Jeez.
I'm just saying it's a philosophy thing. But what Hoeg is saying, it makes sense because that's how gamers talk about games, right? They're like, yeah, I mean, it's a B game, but you kind of want to play some of those, and so maybe you wait until it's on sale or whatever. And like
to me,
I feel that way.
We're doing this as the YouTube. It's like wait for sale, but if you're interested, it's going to be a good time for you. And check out, like, subscribe, absolutely. But no, I mean, I think
I want to see
It's-
this version of your YouTube.
Yeah,
channel.
I want this
wanna
voice
see-
on all your videos.
I want to see
from
the
now on.
rebrand, and I want to see you. You're like a monster truck rally commercial is what I think the voice you were doing there.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of Virtual Legality.
Yeah, we'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Sunday,
you have
Sunday.
you have crowd
Sunday,
fans behind you,
Sunday,
like fake crowd cheering every time you
Yeah.
say something.
Oh, with the soundboard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be great. Yes, Travis, I think your review was good. In fact, I've talked about this in my space. I wasn't on this show with you, Ains, but it's like, to me, you're always looking for from a review, why does this person feel this way? Because I don't have to agree with you. God knows, Travis, we disagree on a few things, right? So I don't have to agree with you at the end of the day. I have to understand how you got to your 6, how you felt about these things. And when you put in a review that's like, it's too easy as a Souls game, and it's kind of clunky and repetitive and whatever. But the world building is really interesting, and the story's kind of cool. It's like, yep, you might as well put a parenthetical that says 6, Hoeg 8. I mean, like,
exactly,
you can put it right next to it.
That's good. Well, I'm glad the review was helpful, and if you think it's weird at the beginning,
It is weird at the beginning.
that game gets weird by the end. You're like, what is happening? But it's also cool.
Scene,
yeah, if
the
you're like
opening
a
scene,
French Revolution guy, a history buff, it's really cool. So.
Yeah, it is. Like, and that's what I love about Assassin's Creed, right? We'll get there, I'm sure, in the show.
Yeah, we're
but
gonna
like
get there.
the opening scene of this is like Marie Antoinette. Like, it's almost a chamber drama, and then you're just watching this whole scene, and then it's like, but then about the robots, you're like, yes, and then it's like, and this one in here in the room with you, it was like, okay, all right.
Yep.
I also like the you talked about some of the stiff voice acting, which is certainly a problem in the game. However, because a lot of the characters are robots, and the way they talk, a charlatan that is more powerful than a minister, and you're like, oh, it kind of. I see what you did there. I gotta respect it too. The hustle is, they're like, well, maybe we could justify it a little bit.
Lean into it. Yeah, no, it's like you come up with inventions for it. Like, if I'm them and I'm evaluating my core competencies, it's like, you guys got good ideas that nobody else is doing. Lean into that, and then I don't care. Make it a turn-based, whatever. It doesn't matter what we're doing between those points. Just make it interesting. And you'll find your place. I bought this. I said this to you offline, Travis, but I really like Greedfall. I really like supporting this particular company finding its voice. And so I bought it because it's like, okay, if this goes wrong, it's like an early support for Greedfall 2, which we know is in process. So that's how I always think about these things.
Me too. Enough. I love it when people support these developers. So
Mrs. Hoeg Law says, side note, we do cheer when Hoeg enters the room. So you can save that comment.
Yeah. They do. No, they do.
That's why you have kids. It's just an ego thing. It's just you made little Hoeg fans.
My God, if kids were an ego thing, it's gone horribly wrong very often.
Yes. A lot of comments running through my head, but we'll move on to Splatoon 3
wonderful.
Is here.
Splatoon 3. Speaking of kids,
squids.
I currently drive around a Splatoon mobile with Splatoon 3 written on the back with giant splats all over the car and a painted portion of our windows that my wife wrote to say "Taxi to Inkopolis," which she loves and also slightly regrets because she only found out after playing the game for a little bit with our daughter that we're now in Splatsville. But in any event, Inkopolis is still on the way, we think. And so we picked up the kids. She picked up the kids in that car. And I'm told that my youngest, the one that was so excited, almost died.
Is this a real thing?
Did you get pulled? Did you get pulled over by Nintendo and they asked you to take it all down?
Oh, no. As you know, you can absolutely use marks if there's no question that you're not showing the source of origin. So there's no indication that we're trying to sell Splatoon 3. We're just enthusiastic fans.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
If you would know if they sent him a cease and desist, Ains, because they would have sent us a press release about it.
That's true.
Oh, if they send me a cease and desist,
they love that.
They're getting a video about it. If they send me a letter, we're having fun in virtual legality.
That would be great.
But all right, how is Splatoon 3, guys? Tell me.
It's good.
Splatoon 3 is everything that my daughter wanted it to be. And so she enjoys all of the extra accoutrement. I think anybody that wants to criticize it for being pretty Splatoon 2-y would have ground on which to stand. But it's a new campaign. Yeah. It's a new campaign, which my daughter loves. And it's a bunch of quality of life stuff. I can tell you that we are big fans of being able to just shoot around and mess around between matches. That considerably makes the process smoother here in Hoeg House. We're big fans of the locker customization features, and we are big fans of the card game that got added to the Splatoon universe. And so that's what I have seen them interacting with the most. But it's a Call of Duty-esque annualized upgrade package, which I think does everything it should do on the tin, but it is very closely related in DNA to what you've already played.
Gotcha.
Squids. Yeah, my assessment is plus thumbs up on the campaign, and the PvP, which is mostly what I play the game for, and I think probably most people play it for that, is
Salmon Run, baby.
Sort of giving me Overwatch 2 vibes. You know, it's like a little, did they got to do this, or was this a money thing, or they just needed another release or whatever? But yeah, I mean, I love Splatoon. It's such a unique multiplayer experience, and yeah, if you're into Switch games, you should play it. Also, a pretty good showcasing of Nintendo's online capacity, which we don't get to see too much, but they actually can do it. They can. So
it works well, no issues.
Works well, no issues. Yeah, and I've been playing it on my Switch on TV, which is, as you guys have heard me talk about many times, the first Nintendo console in a long while that has an Ethernet port. So yeah, it's kind of impressive to see that too. No latency problems on the Switch for the first time, because I played on a wired connection. So
it's an excellent multiplayer game.
It is.
And Turf War continues to be special. You know, that's where it lives and butters its bread. I'm a Salmon Run guy. I really love Salmon Run.
Nice.
So, you know, it's cool to see. Again, it's tweaks, it's quality of life, it's improvements. And, you know, because it is the most obvious live services game that could ever be, and Nintendo ignores it. It has all this new fashion and stuff that my daughter loves. And it's so funny to go into Splatoon and be like, I mean, this is rigged. This is rigged for a battle pass, and like it's right there.
No. And you know what, Nintendo? Good on you.
Hey,
good on you, man.
You think they're preparing people?
No, I think they're just completely oblivious to it. They're just doing the Nintendo thing where they go, "Oh, that's cute. Nice trend. I don't care." And then they just do their own thing. But like they totally could, but I just don't think that. I think they just kind of look at it and they go, "Oh, that's cool. You guys are doing that."
I think Splatoon original recipe wasn't that, right? So when one comes out, we don't quite have live services built around that. They have their game, it works, and then their evolutions. And to change it completely is like it's a real change in what you're making. But it's so clear, especially when I'm playing Splatoon 3 and Dreamlight Valley. And like Dreamlight Valley, we're going to get to it, I know. Yeah. But Dreamlight Valley isn't technically out yet. But what you can see is the structure for what it's going to do with monetization and passes and everything else. You can see what they've got, and it's like they have planned this. Like when this launches in 2023, you know how this is going to work. And it's you know, it's selling you fashion. It's selling you that kind of stuff. And you go into Splatoon, and it's like all this stuff. It's like, and then we've got catalogs. We've got like the proto battle pass thing, kind of similar to what they do with their Nintendo Switch Sports right now. And it's like, I feel like they did mobile. They thought, we're going to chase this trend. They got burned, and they're like, you know what? We're going to do what we do. We're going to sell you Splatoon 3. And it's just, I think we've talked about this before, but it's just so it's such an obvious candidate. Ubisoft would have made 7 different versions, done 2 showcases, 4 documentaries, and a concert series, all celebrating the live services that they've put into Splatoon. Were it there?
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, that's good to hear. It's good. I know a lot of people have been waiting on it. I've heard good things. So yeah, I decided
there's
not
a chat
to buy
here
it.
that I will comment on, which is Nick's here in chat says, I have noticed frequent disconnects. I have noticed that as well. Bailouts. I can't tell whether it's people or whether it's their connectivity problems, but there have been a lot of people bailing out of matches.
Quitters.
So those 8-year-old rage quitters, they'll get you.
All I know is what's really fun about this. I'll share this family story. So watching my daughters go from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 3. The difference in like, okay, I felt through great and I can't figure out anything and how to move cameras and things, to like watching my youngest daughter pop this game in and start whipping around. I mean, like, we have to take that tower. They're getting around us. What did she yell out? She yelled out on Friday. It's like, why aren't they doing anything? We need to get a team here. And I'm like, poking like a multiplayer right there. It's like, we need to take that tower.
Yeah. That's good. Get that competitive juices flowing. I like it.
She's hilarious.
That's good. All right, let me get some super chats real quick while we're talking here. So Tao came in early with the $10 super chat. Sup Bitcasters. Enjoy my time with the Steam Deck. We'll be going through Final Fantasy 1 through 6 as per Hoeg. I did the exact same thing per Hoeg as well. He's got us all buying the Final Fantasy collection.
They're not on consoles, so it's a great place to play it.
It's true. It is true. Also, everyone send a congrats to Chris and his wife on another baby boy. Yes. So Chris, our regular season gaming community, him and his wife had their second kid just on, Friday, I believe. Friday or Thursday.
Congrats.
So yes.
Congratulations.
Continue the line. Good.
Travis will be congratulating him on kids here soon. Nope. And then Dan eat twice for us.
He's going to do that anyway.
I like Ains playing like parent-in-law to Travis. Like,
what is this?
Yeah, it's gonna continue.
What are you, my Jewish grandma? When are you gonna have a kid?
When are you gonna have a kid?
It would be nice if you made me a grandpa.
I think it's fun because the picture I have in my head of Travis being a father, and I think you'd be a great father. This is not a negative connotation, but the picture of that situation just amuses me, and I would love to hear your stories of fatherhood and you and your kids. That would be great to me.
You never call anymore. That's all I'm saying.
You could get reviews. You could rate the years as they go. We could get reviews from Travis of the parental experience. No,
all my reviews are, oh no, I shouldn't have done this. My time, my money. No.
So he's still getting assigned the poor reviews, huh?
Yeah.
See, what I love about it, Ains, is that Travis is a cool customer. He's been through the wars. He knows what he's talking about. He doesn't get confused by anything. But when you do that little joke, there's a small freeze up you can see in Travis's face. It's just like it's just a little.
Yep. No. It's like the hitch in the Matrix.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm too selfish for kids. I just want to play games and ignore other people. And
better to know it than not.
Correct.
I do know it.
Yes,
I know it.
Better. That's 100% correct. Gecko Gamer back in the house with the €5 super chat. Thank you, brother. The real French Revolution was already weird when it reached its peak.
Super weird.
I cannot imagine how weirder it could get. Play Steelrising.
Manages to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and again, just in respect to Steelrising, again, these gentlemen have properly pointed out, don't go over there for the soul stuff, but you're getting a codex, you're getting pickups, you're getting logs, you're getting diary entries, you're getting dialogue. It's not Elden Ring on that score. Okay. I mean,
it is not. It is better than Elden Ring on story by a lot.
Certainly on a linear story. I know Ains wants to talk to us about the dreamscape or whatever. It's all good, bud.
Sorry, man. I love Elden Ring. 10 out of 10 game for me, but it doesn't tell a good story. It just doesn't.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll let you go. Your son will talk to you about that one day. Moving on.
You know he's going to do this forever.
It's true. It's 100% true. Christopher Jets are in the house with a $10 super chat. My issue with Steelrising is its PC performance. I almost had a game-breaking bug by getting stuck in geometry. Thank goodness I was able to respawn to starting location. Otherwise, hours lost.
It's that kind of game, folks. Just in terms of being honest. We put that in the past. Getting too close to a plant and not being able to move.
Yeah, I got footage of it in my review of me standing on top of a tree and my character's just like stuck there forever. And it's a lot of bugs, man.
Don't push it in walls.
The funniest bug, and Travis, I'm sure you've seen this because I saw it several times, is you'll kill an enemy, right? And they'll fall to the ground and then they'll instantly pop back up and just just standing there moving like they're alive, but they're completely dead. You can walk through them. You can't hit them, but they're just standing there.
Oh, yeah. I actually forgot to highlight that bug. That happened to me like 50 times.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And it's weird because you'll search an area and then you'll come back and you'll see him standing there and you'll think it's a new enemy, but it's not. It's the one you've already killed.
Bug in that I wasn't expecting. Oh, I had a T-posed enemy in Last of Us Part 1. I was like, huh. Mr.
Wow.
Polish.
Cool. Nice. Nice.
Wow. And then I'm going to use this super chat to segue us because it's perfect. Gio Rio back in the house with a €10 super chat. Also enjoy Travis's review on Disney Valley. Pity that a bug erased my Donald feather. So MSQ now locked. I don't know what any of this is, guys. But the game hits all my dopamine sensors a bit too well. Awesome statue. Ghost. Yeah, ghost statue behind me. Enjoy, guys.
Yeah, so that is something I talk about extensively in my review, but it certainly earns its early access badge with bugs. I didn't really mention this in my review, but I played this entire game with my fiance. It is not a multiplayer game, but we played it side by side, and she actually played like 15 more hours than me because she's a psychopath. Like she was just playing so much of that game, and both of us ran into bugs that locked us out of some of the main like character quests, and she encountered another one last night because she's still playing this dang thing. She's obsessed with it. And it has like some stuff, and if you go on Reddit you'll see that's most of what people are talking about. They're like, oh, I can't do this thing. The game like very stupidly lets you complete side quests or main quests before it gives you the quest. So it'll be like, go and pick up this gem, and if you've gone and already picked up the gem and it's in your inventory, you can't complete the quest. And there's a bunch of quests like that, so you kind of have to like go in knowing that, or you just have to be careful because there's stuff. It's not a finished game, and I think that they know that it's not finished, so there will be fixes and that sort of thing. But aside from that stuff that is super frustrating,
okay, so
they crushed the game.
So, guys, thank you for the super chats, by the way. Appreciate you. So explain to me, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've seen it all over my timeline. I've seen people talking about it. I haven't looked up a single thing about it. I don't even know what type of game or experience we're talking about here.
Here's the pitch. It is a life simulator in the same vein as Animal Crossing.
Okay, I'm already out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know you're already out. Except for instead of a focus on building your town and paying off a loan to your house, the main thing that you interact with is you collect Disney characters, convince them to move into your town, and then you build friendships with them via RPG like social link mechanics that they
have little battle passes.
They have little battle passes.
All the characters have little things you get for each level.
As you build their friendship with them, it like in a Bioware RPG where you're kind of like moving the sliders.
Sure. But you can see level. Kind of like you have a level for each character.
Level up on the bottom.
That's right. Yep. And so they sort of make an Animal Crossing game, but they put their strongest asset first, which is like, hey, we have hella memorable characters, and you can go around and collect them all and convince them to move into your town and then become best friends with them. And
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, seeing all the characters in the same place, it's sort of like a Kingdom Hearts. If Kingdom Hearts was a much better game and was about socializing and building towns instead of about dark hearts. So
I have a lot of questions.
Way better than Kingdom Hearts.
It is way better than Kingdom Hearts.
Is the town the same for everyone, or can you modify the town as well?
The town is basically identical for everyone.
No, hold on. Wait, roll back. You can move everything in the town.
You can move everything in the town, but the bones are the same. It's not like Animal Crossing where the island shape and stuff is different.
Oh, right. Okay. So, yes, the overall
one canvas. It's a canvas.
It's one canvas, and then they put some stuff in spots, but you can move it and change things as you go and edit it.
And then did the characters, I'm trying to picture this. Are they walking around the town? Do they randomly appear and you have to talk to them, or?
Yep. Yeah, you can travel to their realms to like, that's how you get them. You go to their world. So you go to like the frozen world and you recruit Anna and Elsa and get them to come back to your town and that sort of stuff. And then when they get into your town, they just become a part of the town. They'll go and eat at the restaurant. The Remy from Ratatouille runs the restaurant, and they'll go to Scrooge McDuck's store that he owns and just kind of hang out. And they'll do stuff with you. You can go up to them and be like, let's hang out. And they'll follow you around and you guys can just chill.
Right.
So
and
it's actually pretty great, man. Ains,
no, it sounds like it sounds like to you. I think you said it right. At least the way I'm envisioning it is they have a endless amount of memorable characters and people that have an emotional attachment to specific characters.
It is so set up for expansion. The concepts of the way this thing is built with the doors that go to worlds, and then the characters that can just be added and would add to the nature of the valley. is brilliant. Like you can see exactly what their plan is for, I don't know, 10 years. And the fact that they had an announcement on one of the shows that we're going to talk about, which is like, okay, so they're trying, they're planning, they're setting up
the
pipeline.
Game had been out for like 3 days, and they announced the first expansion for it, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
So who's developing this game?
This is by Game Loft. Primarily a mobile developer.
Yep.
That has a lot of experience with these folks. If you've ever played Magic Kingdoms online, this is the same feel. They've been practicing with these characters and with this vibe and with this community for what they're interested in for a long time. And you can see it. Magic Kingdom has been on my phone for 5 years. And so it's just one of those idle things where it's like you collect the money and then you go and you talk to Mickey Mouse. And so it's definitely of that vein from the characterization. But on top of that, because they're a mobile developer, they've got some of the dopamine loops here on such a good run of like, you always do the next thing until it's 4 hours later. And unlike Animal Crossing or some of these other games where you kind of hit this, like, realistically, I could go fishing now, but I've done all the things that actually reward me. Dreamlight Valley just lets you go. Dreamlight Valley just says, all right, keep going. We're just going to keep giving you dailies. We're going to keep giving you things that you can do. And so it's really up to you as to when to finish. And like I said, the characters all have 10 levels right now, which is expandable in and of itself. The line actually goes to the side and you're like, huh, okay. And so that's 170 levels. Then you have the main quest. Then you have everything else that you're doing. Then you've got the battle pass stuff. I don't know how much you interacted with this, Travis, but they've got
Pixar Festival.
They've got a practice battle pass thing that they're starting with that is also broken, I should point out, Travis, because there's one that you can't get. And in that, they give you different quests. You pay for half of it, and then they use what I would describe as Fortnite boards. If you're familiar with the way Fortnite operates right now, is they give you a screen, and then when you buy enough from one screen, you can go to the next screen so that you can somewhat control what it is you're getting. And unlike the idiocy at Halo, they do have the boxes which give you the premium currency back, which is always when I get happy, because I always do those first, and then everything else is free. And so you have like 6 dailies live. You have 6 premium dailies live or battle pass dailies live. You have the overall length of game stuff, and then it's on a loop that unlike again, like an Animal Crossing, where you go and you mine something or you pick the flowers and they're kind of done. It's big enough that if you're looping for what you want and it's fast enough, they're generally going to be back for you to just do it however much you like.
With some exceptions that are super annoying, but they do just sort of let you play at your own pace, and everything you do. Go ahead.
I'm not sure the mushrooms in your grove aren't a bug for you because they loop back up.
They're not. So I don't know how technical you want to get here, but they have they have item limits for each of their biomes, and if you haven't accessed the other half of the biome and you're collecting, they'll spawn more and more on the other side of the bridge you can't get to, and when it reaches its max, the new ones won't spawn on your side, and then they don't come back. So it sort of is an unintentional bug. People online have been talking about
it. Is unintentional because what's funny about this is that getting that particular item, mushrooms, is the way to defeat the mushrooms.
I know, it's so irritating. So I just had to wait extra days, and I had just unlocked the ability to melt the mushrooms when I finished my review, but I was like, I could have done that so long ago. And then there's just stuff like that where it's like, I don't think they did that on purpose, and I think they'll probably
that wouldn't be good design. And that's just luck, right? Because I read your review and I said, oh crap, because I have the mushroom quest in my corner. I'm like, I better get on that since Travis says it's going to take me 4 days or whatever. And I just looped around and I just got lucky on the spawns or whatever, because I'm like, Travis is full of shit.
Yeah, no, it's So if you know the quest is coming and you save your mushrooms,
I love how bored Ains is with this. Can we talk?
I was going to say that if you are as lost and bored about mushroom talk as I am right now, you are not alone.
That's fine. Ains, take a break.
What I had done, Hoeg, is I'd done a couple loops for a while before getting that quest and selling all my mushrooms before eating them because I didn't care. And then by the time I'd gotten that quest, it was like, oh crap, I did the thing where I used all the ones on my side, and they're now all spawned in a place I can't get to.
Because it's pretty stingy with storage, so you're always making those elections.
Yeah, it is. So you can build chests. I don't know if you know that. You can build an infinite number, which is cool.
I do. I'm into this game.
Anyway, Ains, my point was that Animal Crossing has this thing
Oh,
where
we're getting to a point. Sweet.
it plays in real time, so you only have so much you can do in a day, and then you're sort of like, I'm now done playing Animal Crossing today. I've done like my hour worth of gameplay, and you
Sure.
put it down.
Sure.
And then this game does the exact opposite philosophy, where it's like, go crazy, play as much as you want, and the system that Hoeg is describing of rewards and progression is so addictive and well done. They reward you for everything you do. So it's like every 10 seconds you're getting some like bing, you earned points, you earned money, you earned a Dreamlight that you can spend on new characters, you earned battle pass experience, and it's just like, holy crap, I feel like I'm just getting, badges and medals and trophies constantly, and you're like and then you start sweating and you're like, this is my life now, this is all I want to play, and then 12 hours
and their stuff is cool. The trick in some of this stuff is that their stuff is cool, and some people, that's, you always laugh at it. It's not like artists fall off trees or anything, but like when you put this stuff in the game, it's cool to earn and cool to see and cool to get, and that makes it all work.
So let me ask, well, not ask, but sounds like they've got the dopamine thread nailed. They've got Disney IP licensing, and they've had practice with games like this before, so they probably have a good idea of what mistakes to avoid at a high level. So to Hoeg's original point, it sounds like this game is going to make billions of dollars.
I think it's got that pathway. You don't know, because it's going to depend on how it launches free to play and to the public at large. But right now, to me, the only question is, you can see what they could do with it. They know there's a difference between console and mobile. Like, that's why you see their mobile roots, which is like, even the stamina, you could attach just a normal mobile stamina rule to, or watch an ad to get more stamina and that kind of thing. And all this game does instead is like, go back, touch your house, touch home base, and you get all your stamina back. And it's like, that's a weird dynamic. And it's like, it's clear that it's clear that this could be just ridiculously monetized, and finding the right place for that, which they've pledged. We've seen companies talk about these. We're not going to do that. It's not a mobile game. We're not going to do all these things. You can see how the buttons and like the hooks are still there if they wanted to. Sure. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, I think I said this to you offline. People are sleeping on what, to me, could be a Fortnite level success for the audience that, in general, I don't want to put people in boxes, in general, are not the Bitcasters, right? Yep. Like that, not our audience, but Sims makes a fortune. Animal Crossing does really, really well. Yep. This is better moment to moment, from my view, than Animal Crossing at doing what Animal Crossing does.
Oh, okay.
Because it focuses on something different. If you're into the town building part of it and like the hard life sim, you probably will like Animal Crossing more. But this is like for people who like the idea of Animal Crossing but wish it was more like an RPG with characters in its center and quests.
It's a game.
And that's what this does. It's more of a game.
It drives more than Animal Crossing, which is like, what am I supposed to? You play Animal Crossing and you talk to your friend that loves Animal Crossing. You're like, and I'm now standing here.
I will say about the live service part, because this is going to make or break it, right? Is like, can they do content delivery? So you can actually, I think they accidentally let everybody see what their content delivery plan is, because there's a menu hidden in the game settings that shows you a bunch of icons for upcoming stuff. And you're like, oh, look, this is like their first year of content. You can see all the different worlds listed. And I don't think that was intentional. And they very clearly have a plan. My question is, Halo Infinite had a plan too for live service, and it did not work out because it's hard to make content. Is this game easy enough to develop for? Can they add content at a clip that's good enough to keep people engaged? And when they add it, are you just going to burn through it? Because frankly, getting characters leveled to 10 and completing their quest line is not a super long journey, especially now that the game's out. People are just going to be stockpiling resources like Dreamlight and making sure they have 5 of every item in their chests and doing all that stuff that gamers do to min-max it. So I could very much see them dropping a character and them being like, all right, cool, recruited them all, have them all at max level. What do I do now? Right? Like every time a new content comes out. And so even if it is to develop for, it might not be content that is evergreen enough or, has the longevity to kind of keep the beast fed long enough for them to create a new character. So I think even though they have a plan and it seems clear like this would be easy to develop for, at least is my impression. It's kind of like, all right, you just add a character in a small
I think
little
they
world.
built the pipeline first. Yeah,
They built a pipeline first. I still worry that like this is at least the way they built it today. You can burn through things so quickly, and I worry about that part of it. So whether they'll succeed at live service is an open question, and the way that they're going to monetize is the other one. Those are like the two big question marks for me. But in its current state, you should definitely play it if you like Animal Crossing games. It's on Game Pass.
yes, if you're a Game Pass owner.
Yeah, should play it.
Okay, you guys are trying. You're trying. RJH says it's a mobile game that is amazing, but isn't a mobile game. So it will attract all those casual people because mobile games aren't so much money. Then on top of all that, obviously all the Disney fans as well. So yeah, it sounds like based on what you guys are saying, if it has those hooks, man, this could be to Hoeg's point, it could be a huge game.
Yeah, and maybe Star Wars fans or Marvel.
Star Wars.
Who knows?
Oh, Star Wars is going to come.
It could
Star Wars is in Magic Kingdoms. Go look at what made it into Magic Kingdoms over 6 years. How it was introduced. I think it's the same order. Honestly, if you go look at how that came in, you can go see what the plan is. And I have no doubt that they set up the pipeline that way. And I have no doubt that I'm not as worried about it as Travis, because I don't actually think you need constant growth to enjoy that experience, much like an Animal Crossing in kind of a safe period. I think that's still going to play out for people, and you can just run those battle passes for any kind of a reason to be there. So I think they've got themselves covered in a couple of different directions. I'm only concerned as to, what their plan is for monetizing this when it's actually launched as the game that they want it to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Midnight Jury just said, I do keep waiting for it to ask me for money.
Oh, there's so many spots.
Yeah, right now they're happy to take your $40 or however much Game Pass gave them because it's not out. But like when early access ends, some stuff's gonna change. I can tell you that. Yeah,
and it's gonna feel bad. Like the one spot they put themselves in is it's like, yeah, this cannot be the way they live and keep their lights on. So the actual release is different. And how does that feel for people? Because I will tell you, I said I have Magic Kingdoms on my phone for 5 years. I absolutely adored it. Thought it was very fair for like 3 of them. They went overboard with like ads and interstitial screens and things like that for like a year or two, pulled back from that. And then I went back to it. But like there was a period where I was like, no, we've crossed. That's too far. I'm no longer enjoying this. And so, you go and check out that. It's easy to do that. But to me, this is very well planned out. And one of the things I like to see is, like you say, oh, you go to their worlds. Yes, you do, but they're very contained and they use writing to make them interesting. And, they don't use vocals. They don't use voice readings of the lines. They use enough vocalization from most of the actors to give you the impression of their character, but then everything else is written. Like they've made so many good choices for, we need to be able to have a pipeline and move it fast for that Christmas event where we want Remy to make special Christmas comments or whatever. And it's the opposite of, I remember Destiny. It's like, no, you don't actually want Peter Dinklage in that role if you're going to have a bunch of stuff you're going to continue to add to your universe. And so it's just really well thought out for, no, this is going to need to go. And I think they've actually thought that through beforehand, and that's nice to see.
I was just thinking as you were talking about seasonal events, right? If you do like a Halloween event with like Nightmare Before Christmas, then you may actually get me to play it.
And there's already I hate to tell you, there's already a pumpkin in one of the zones that nobody's living in. There's some stuff that Nightmares Before Christmas is going to be in there.
All right,
there's some stuff on the map that says home that we don't have a character for. I mean, like there's
okay.
Yeah, I think you're going to get pulled in at some point. And even if I try to stay away from this game after it comes out, when Star Wars is in there, I'm there.
Marvel
season pass.
That's as soon as you said Disney, right? I mean, you think about everything Disney has the rights to nowadays, and it's almost endless. So
there could be a Predator and an Alien in there. I mean, like it is rigged. It's just depending on what vibe they want to hit, because what they're aimed at is Sims. Like their graphics are Sims, the way they do their animations is Sims. So they're aimed at that. And then it's how far they want to press outside that. Again, I can only recommend go to Magic Kingdoms to see exactly how they treat Star Wars in the kind of cartoony way that they adopt the Star Wars look. And then these quests are all simple. They're written, but they're also kind of good, kind of great.
They are.
It's remarkable.
The story is kind of good. I'm surprised by that. So did you watch the review, Hoeg, of my description of the story on that?
I
That's sort of
read
like,
your review. Is that the same as
okay,
your script for the watch?
Yeah.
So no, it's what you get
It's
the big,
surprising.
I don't know, twist in the middle, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like how it sort of sets it up like, oh, there's this villain in the game, and then partway through you realize, oh, is the villain adulthood? Is this Hook? Did they do Hook again?
Are you are you spoiling a game?
No, it's not like a spoiler.
He wrote it in his review for IGN.
Yeah, I wrote it in my review because it's clearly not a spoiler. Technically, they tell you that at the very beginning of the game. It's just that at that point in the game, you don't really know what's happening yet. And so then when you get further in it, it's sort of like a story point that dawns on you like way later. You're like, wait, the forgetting is me forgetting about these people because I grew up. Oh my God, that's what happened in real life. And it's like, it kind of just makes you, it's just such a clever way to do the story in the game. So.
Right. Well, the other clever thing I like from a meta perspective is that the intro is Stardew Valley. Like the intro is identical.
Bustle of the city. You got to get away from it. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, okay, lean into it.
Yeah.
Dreamlight Valley, by the way, is a compound word ending in valley that is designed to make you think of Stardew Valley. There's no question.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. I've seen a lot of people talking about it. So good that you guys gave a lot of context there. At least I have a picture in my head now because I had no idea what we were talking about prior.
It's so much better than you think it is, Ains.
Yeah,
I've
really
heard that from a lot of people. So
you know what's funny is this was one of those games where nobody wanted to review it, so they threw it in the IGN Slack and was like,
you got lucky.
Will anybody take this, or I'm gonna assign it to a freelancer? And I sort of looked at it and I was like, I mean, my fiance would love this. I guess I'll just sort of throw my hat in the ring if no reviewer takes it. And they had so many copies of the code and nobody took it. They were just like, nah, we're good. And then I got assigned it and I was like, wait, this is good. Yeah. So I don't think anybody was expecting it, but it is very good. So you will unfortunately, Ains, have to hear Hoeg and I talk about it.
That's fine. I'll try it so I'm at least educated to a degree.
I mean, here's what's going to happen, Ains. Here's my prediction. This is going to get big. This is going to get real big, and then you're going to be talking about it like Fortnite. I can still go back to video appearances of people talking about Fortnite when they announced the Battle Royale. They're stealing from PUBG. It's like nobody's going to be talking about this game in 2 months. There are all these clips of like whatever epic. And it's like, yep.
All right, we got a super chat from Philip Boyle, €5 super chat. He said, "Thanks, Hoeg, for the Immortality recommendation last week. Unbelievable game that I wouldn't have played without Game Pass. Have a phobia of rewinding now."
Yeah, VCRs are scary things, so I respect it.
Philip, thank you so much.
You have to get one of those separate VHS rewinder machines. Remember those?
I do remember those. Yeah,
super speedy.
See, I'm not that young. I remember that.
Do you?
Actually,
from your actually useful life?
No, DVDs were out. I think I was just poor. I forgot about that. So yeah, I mean, never mind. I retract my statement.
You're younger. But if you're younger, it means you still have plenty of time for the kids. So you're good to go.
Immortality is grand. Thank you so much.
Eat something. You look skinny. I'm just going to do a Jewish grandma quote.
I'm going to deflect.
Yeah.
Deflect. So I have an on-the-spot question for you today. Because I was playing what came out this week? The update for Biomutant came out this week for new consoles.
Downloaded that when I saw you tell people about your review.
Yes, and I've talked about Biomutant plenty in the past. I'm not going to do that right now, but for whatever reason, right, it's one of those games that really sits well with me. I just love it. I started a fresh game for the third time this week. The update's really good, by the way. You can run a very high FOV. It's 4K. The frame rate never drops. It's beautiful. So if you haven't played it, pretty much. But I whatever it is about the game, right? It hits me well. I love it. I'm playing it again. Which made me occur, right? Occurred to me, made me occur. That there are those games for each of us independently that may not have been critically acclaimed, that may not, what have you. Many people didn't like, et cetera, the 5s to 6s of the world, the 7s here and there, that for whatever reason you just adore, right? Like it's a game that just sits way up high for you. You love it to death. You play it all the time, or you put lots of time into it. What is that game for you guys? Do you have one that comes to mind?
Travis is going to answer Destiny.
I think that's too easy of a cop out.
I did give Destiny Vanilla a 6 out of 10. So
Yeah.
spot on.
He's got that setting.
Yeah.
The one I've thought about this in a couple of places. The one I always think of as kind of like people didn't like and I really enjoyed was an old PlayStation 2 game called Headhunter. Did you ever play that game?
Let me look up a picture to remind me. Hold on.
Sounds familiar. I'm also gonna look it up.
Because I can also pull up. I have a lot of these. You know what? This
It was on Dreamcast too.
Yeah, probably.
Wow. Yeah, it was. I remember the Dreamcast like picture from the screenshot. I don't think I ever played it.
Yeah, this is a game that is kind of like a 90s action movie, like Demolition Man, give or take. But it had some of the earliest kind of symphonic score and serious kind of working through a story, even if that story was dumb, in against the siphon filters of the world, where you also had that kind of proto Metal Gear approach to doing these kinds of games. So I really love that one. You all know that I have an adoration of full motion video games, which everybody hated. So I mean, I could do that all day. I could just list them off. I love Hell, a cyberpunk thriller. I love the Ripper game, also cyberpunk, or Jack the Ripper. The Wing Commanders. A game called the Daedalus Encounter. How about that one? Tia Carrera.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Acting. Sewer Shark. I can do these all day. Now, I don't get to play them all the time because they don't actually work on the current systems, but I love those forever.
I will stand up for Wing Commander against anyone, especially Wing Commander 3. I adored that game. I played it endlessly. In fact, played it endlessly on the 3DO.
Yeah, well, that's the right place to play it. You got 3 of the fur balls. Yeah, absolutely.
Tia Carrera, there's a name I hadn't heard in a long time, but yes, you're right. Mark Hamill, famously in what Wing Commander? Was it 3?
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Yep. Yeah.
And whatever 5 was. It's not called 5. It's called like Aliens, Revengeance, Cocoon, Symbiosis, something along those lines.
He's just throwing words out now.
Wing Commander.
That's what they do.
Pretty much.
Yeah, there's a subtitle that means like alien. Wing Commander.
Xenophobe.
First contact.
No, I don't know. Christopher Jetzer says Lollipop Chainsaw, which Christy Fletcher seconded. Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh,
Lollipop Chainsaw is getting a remake, remaster.
Something like that.
Something's happening to it. Yeah.
And
Ash because of that, something's happening to us.
What? I know that they put out a statement that was something along the lines of, "No, we're not changing her design. We're bringing the game as it was into the modern age." It was like, oh, okay. Were you getting asked to chill out a bit on Lollipop Chainsaw?
Probably.
Boobies. Yeah.
Probably. Order 1886, Ash says.
It's a great choice.
Oh, God. No.
No, it's an easy game to imagine somebody loving.
I can't imagine.
I liked Order. I mean, obviously it has many faults, but I liked it. I like the concept of it.
You ever been to a shooting gallery?
It is a shooting gallery. So what? People love Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt has a better story. My 6 out of 10 games that I like are Destiny.
Yeah.
Just got to throw that out there.
Yes.
Alpha Protocol, which I personally think is underrated.
That broke on me so many times.
I know. I'm alas.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And Earth Defense Force.
You always talk about Earth
You
Defense
love
Force.
those.
Yeah,
I love those games. Earth Defense Force, I could play those for hours and hours. And I have gone back and played Earth Defense Force 2017 and 2024 or whatever the other games are a few times. And those games are horrific design, but I will laugh and die every time the frame rate goes to 2 because I set off a nuke that killed, a million ants. So it's
remember back in the NES days, that was, losing frames. That meant some cool stuff was going down.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was like John Woo slow motion is what it was.
Yeah. Like you lose frames in this game and it just slows the game down to a crawl because you called in an airstrike and it made like 90 bombs blow up and all these ants are flying in the air like because it just can't handle you. So amazing.
Let me mention another one.
Go ahead.
Let me mention another one because I really do enjoy this one. I have to admit, I have no idea how it's been reviewed. But I've talked to you guys about it, and it's the Voice of Cards series from Square Enix, where you're playing what are relatively light, very standard RPGs that the entire world, all the menus, everything is built out of cards. And they released a game last year called the Voice of Cards. I want to say like the Dragon Reborn. And I talked highly about it. I suspect it's getting 7s. I would guess from people. I really, really enjoy it. And so much so that I've gone back to it twice. And what's really interesting about it is I said at the time, I said, well, this seems like something that Square Enix should really churn out, could really build. And they have the third Voice of Cards. I said this just released last year. The third Voice of Cards comes out this week. And I actually like it so much that it's a folder on my PlayStation that just is called Voice of Cards that they're all going into, that sits right at the top of my games because they are so relaxing. They use I think they use the composers from the Nier series, and they're all read to you. It's the voice of the card. So it's just one narrator doing all the voices like an audiobook. And they pick these kind of relaxing voices out. And it reminds me of old school RPGs, Final Fantasy, along with reading Rainbow. It's a delight, but I suspect people aren't vibing with it quite as much as I am. But I also suspect
higher than you think.
Okay,
so Beasts of Burden is the one launching in 2 days. You said,
yeah, on the 13th.
Okay, the last one last year was the Dragon Roars.
The Dragon Roars is the first
Isle
one.
of Dragon Roars.
Okay. That was the base game.
Yeah, there should be one that's like the Maiden Cry.
The Forsaken Maiden was the one that came out earlier this year. Forsaken Maiden.
Okay,
Forsaken Maiden,
Isle of Dragon Roars.
And you're right, Hoeg. They all, I think, in Metacritic are in the mid to high 70s. All the expansions.
Okay, so it's not bad enough, Ains, but hey, it's a good entry point to say, hey, there's a new Voice of Cards this week, folks. If you like it like I do.
There you go.
We got other ones. Face of Cards.
Rise.
Hey, the other thing I would say about Voice of Cards is, they start out really chill, but this is the Nier team. They get weird. So if that intrigues you, you should know that they do get weird. Forsaken Maiden especially.
Voice of Cards for those who like it weird. That's the Hoeg recommendation.
No doubt. We've got let's see. Someone said Stalker. Gecko says Dead Core, which is apparently, I looked it up while you guys were talking, was a game in 2017 I had not heard of.
Dead Core sounds like a really specific version of metal bands.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there are,
core.
Metalcore. Yeah. Final Fantasy 15, Sardanism says.
You know what? Sardanism's accurate.
And then someone really doesn't like Real Radact. Really didn't like Order 1886, but that's okay.
Oh, did we start an order fight? I get why people would hate it. I get why people would like it.
What a waste of my time.
Order 1886. Yeah, I don't know. I like that.
I felt, the opening to that game where you're getting waterboarded. That was me the whole game, just getting waterboarded.
Stop it. The funny thing about the game is because it didn't get reviewed well. It had this $150 collector's edition that I don't think they made a lot of, which I actually owned.
Of course you did.
I didn't. Well, no, I owned.
Oh, okay.
And I either returned it or sold it. I can't remember. And now it goes for like $700. Because people, there's this cult group that love that game, and they didn't make many of them, so everyone wants it.
It's easy to see how people would really like Order. Like, it's very different in how it proceeds as a game, much to people's chagrin. But like that's always going to be very popular for whoever that works with really well.
Yeah, unique games.
That was that era where Sony was doing the same thing. They go through phases at Sony. They do like the same thing in all their games. That was the phase where at the end of the game, you're fighting gross humanoids. That was the thing they did for a while. They did it with The Order, and then they did it with Until Dawn. Just like, so the second half of the games are always, here's a gross humanoid that you have to fight. That's how God, I hate that game so much. What a waste of time.
Calm down.
Bad.
All right. Go download The Order for you.
A 4 out of 10 from me.
All right. Easy.
4 out of 10, bad.
All right, 4 out of 10, bad. So we're talking about Ubisoft Forward.
Perfect transition.
You're welcome. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and move on to the show we got yesterday from Ubisoft. So,
yes.
Why don't we talk? Let's break it into two things. Talk about everything else, then we'll talk about Assassin's Creed. So here's everything I'm just gonna run the list, and then you can pick.
Yeah, give the list. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Mario and Rabbids. So they showed more of that, and they showed that there's going to be an expansion with Rayman that's coming to that game. They showed more of Skull
That's
and
some
Bones.
contract work right there, by the way.
Yeah,
Good job.
They showed more of Skull and Bones. They showed season 4 of Riders Republic. They showed the new update to Division 2, of course, along with Heartland. Heartland is going to be, which we already kind of knew, but a free-to-play action shooter RPG in a new location for Division. They talked about Netflix and their agreement to make mobile games with Netflix. They talked about Trackmania coming to console, and then they talked about Just Dance 2023. Of course they did.
Netflix, if you had to drink every time they said the word Netflix, you were on the floor at least as early as 3/4 of the way through the show.
This is very true. So like I said, they saved the end for like kind of a big Assassin's Creed presentation. I'll call it a presentation rather than an update. But
please.
But out of these things here that they talked about previously, I honestly believe, I don't know about you guys, man, I have seen nobody, and I literally mean nobody, and this is just me, talk about Skull and Bones releasing in 2 months.
I think there's a reason Skull and Bones is that they offer its day and date on UB Plus or whatever. I mean, I think they know where they're at in terms of Q score on Skull and Bones. Every time I see it, what's your hook? Why am I compelled to play this?
Their hook was that Black Flag was a hit and they couldn't get it out before Sea of Thieves.
And Black Flag came out when?
2012, maybe 2013.
Yeah, I mean how long after that second Black Flag game were they announcing Skull and Bones and talking about it, and then there was like an 8-year gap or something? Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, Black Flag was on 360 and PS3, was it not?
It was on PS3.
It was a cross console game,
right? Like Destiny 1.
No, the second one was.
No, it's the first one. Black Flag has those videos where they show this is what it looks like on the PlayStation.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
that is because I remember the swipe over to look at the rain and our palm trees will now be affected by the rain. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. It was the one the next year where they made a 360 exclusive Black Flag sequel, and then the
that's
Xbox
the one with the ice on the cover that I've never played. It's like the only
I have played it. They re-released it with the modern platform, and I was like, I'm gonna play this game because I missed it, and it is actually pretty good. You end up playing for a Templar. You play a Templar. It's one of those games. So
it's funny because the chat's saying the same thing. Like, I keep forgetting Skull and Bones exists. I don't have a clear idea of what Skull and Bones is, and I think that's the problem. They're talking about it a lot, but not in a way that intrigues me or seemingly many people.
Just the French accent, Ains.
just makes your eyes gloss over when you hear that voice.
Well, I don't think it helps that it's releasing the first week of November, right? November 8th. It's releasing right in the core of the fall. It's releasing one day before Ragnarok. I don't think that they're gonna be in this. You still don't think it's releasing?
Oh, I'm sticking with that game's not coming out that week.
I can't believe you're holding that prediction down to this point.
Well, I'm holding it. We'll see.
All right. So Hoeg, for everyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, still doesn't think that God of War is going to release this year. He thinks the November 9th date will slip.
I don't think it's releasing that week. I think as you get closer, it's a little bit more likely that a delay would be shorter. But the other option is that it's got technical problems. This still doesn't. We'll see.
Okay.
I could be 1,000% wrong. Nothing would make me happier on this, honestly. Game releases, game doesn't have technical problems. Fantastic for everybody involved.
Yeah.
I don't feel it.
Gotcha. Mario and Rabbids. I keep saying that wrong. Mario and Rabbids. I'm just super excited for that game. I think that's the game that will dust off my Switch this year. So I'm looking forward to
that development example that they showed in this. That was the highlight of the show. Don't show your highlight of the show first, Ubisoft. It sets
right out of the gate
wrongly. It was so good looking and has so many neat, interesting ideas for tactical combat games. I think people might discount it because it's going to be Mario and Rabbids, but I think at the end of the day, you're going to see the stuff that they're working on coming out of this filter out through all the games you care about more. Fire Emblem, XCOM, whatever it might be. They are thinking through some stuff. I think Sparks of Hope is going to be an actual genre changer from what we've seen so far.
Oh, Yeah, it definitely looks like a huge step up from the first one, and I like the first one a lot.
The first one's awesome.
Yeah, so this is yeah, it looks great. I'm excited about that one. Division, I'm a big Division player. I know I don't think either of you are, but you know,
I thought
Division,
Heartland looked cool, but I like that.
Okay.
I like that look. I like small town USA for this kind of game.
Sure.
So I think they showed like the Bowl-orama and the mall.
Yeah,
And things like that. It's also in the 80s. I don't know if you know, it's a time traveling division. But yeah, it's small town America from a different small town America. Yeah, it's very. I thought it looked good from the art design and what they showed.
Yeah.
So if
I like the Division. I just have problems with its live service model. That's it.
Yeah. Do we know what Heartland's service model is?
It's free to play. So and the way they described it, there's like a 2-minute dev commentary on it, you could say, where basically they said it's you know, it takes a lot of the foundational work of Division 2, but it simplifies the survival mechanics, whatever that means, because there's not a lot of survival mechanics in Division 2.
I was going to ask the question. You don't eat in Division, do you?
Only to get health back. You know, you can kind of eat your health pack or whatever. But I just hope if it's to Travis's point, free to play, right? It's co-op. I hope it has all of the, not only the loop that Division 2 has, but I hope it has all the improvements that they've made over the past 4 years in that game, because it has gotten pretty extensive. So if it has that, it'll keep people playing, which could be good. I'm open to a new setting. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I'm glad they didn't just throw it in New York or where we've already been, Washington.
I was impressed by the setting. I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, looks good. Silver Creek. It's made up hometown, as Hoeg said. Trackmania,
Raccoon City.
Yeah, but I don't have any. I mean, funny enough, Riders Republic Season 4 actually looks good. Travis and I reviewed that game. We both enjoyed it quite a bit.
Riders Republic is good.
It's a good game.
It's good.
But I don't know how many people are still playing it. Obviously, some. So
yeah, that's the problem with a lot of these live service games, is even if they're good, that might not be good enough in the live service arena nowadays, because there's so many great options that if you make a good game with the live service model, everybody wants you to play their game forever, and that's not a possibility with the time constraints of life.
Yeah, and one thing I keep talking about on shows too is just like, you know, as we all know, right? There's more and more drive towards live service. We know PlayStation's driving there. We know there's going to be more and more options, to your point, Travis. And there's only so much time. If you're dedicate yourself to a big live service game like a Destiny, right? You only have so much time. There's going to be a big graveyard, in my opinion, of live service titles here in the next several years. We'll say.
Probably not wrong.
Assassin's Creed. So they ended. This is kind of what was the focus for the show. A lot of this, in fact, almost all of it leaked ahead of time. So what they showed. Let me go through this, and then Hoeg, I know you're chomping at the bit here.
Well, no, I will. I was just thinking, if I want to make sure we didn't miss anything from the first half, because I also think Trackmania is fun. I like Trackmania.
Trackmania is coming to console next year.
New Trackmania is cool.
Netflix and mobile games. That's all I had in my notes.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Horses.
Just Dance, of course.
Okay, so that's a big announcement. Again, if we're covering all gaming, Just Dance is moving to full live service, which I think is the absolute right call for them.
Yep, with 6-player online multiplayer as well, where you can play compete online 6-player.
I mean, I know with our show here about Dreamlight Valley and Mario and Rabbids and Just Dance, we're not in the core demo, but I think these are going to make money for people.
Yeah, there's a reason they were still releasing Just Dance on the Wii.
I thought it was so smart. I actually thought they should have been working on this before, but it takes time. So what they showed, I think that's going to work.
Oh yeah, it'll make tons of money for them. All right, so Assassin's Creed. So they confirmed, they talked about Mirage a little bit. They showed a cinematic trailer, no gameplay. Hold.
So dumb.
And they said it's coming in 2023. No date either. Just it's coming next year.
Pre-order this undated, unshown game, you idiots. We think you're dumb. Thank you, Ubisoft. Nice to talk to you, Eves.
I tried to get him to hold. He's not wrong though. So yes, you can pre-order the game now and get a bonus mission. Apparently, the collector's edition is up on Ubisoft.com store. but we haven't seen the actual game other than it's everything that we talked about last week, right? It is boss theme, takes place in Baghdad, 20 years prior to Valhalla when he's younger. The core of the game is what more of a classic, in air quote, Assassin's Creed experience.
What's the coded words they used on the actual show? It was on a linear action adventure, is what they called it too.
Okay, and that's how they're going to separate with their open world RPG.
Yes, they referred to Code Red as their open world RPG Assassin's Creeds or something like that.
They did. Yeah, so they're clearly making a delineation right between these methods of their Assassin's Creed games development.
Two different genres.
Yeah,
I mean, they are.
Well, at least I think, to give them a little credit, at least they recognize that, right? Because we've had these RPGs for the past 3 entries, and no matter how much money they've made for Ubisoft, which we know is a lot, with Valhalla being the top one ever, there is that subsection of the community, as we know, a very vocal community that says, where is my Assassin's Creed that I grew up with and loved for the past decade, right?
Yep.
So at least they recognize, hey, we're going to take this in an approach where we can deliver both experiences.
Oh yeah, I've been on both sides of this coin, right? When Resident Evil 4 comes out, I'm like, what the hell? That's not my game.
Resident Evil 6 is, right? Right?
Yeah, Resident Evil 6 is stronger than 4, yeah.
My God.
There's our God.
First of all, I don't even believe that. I just wanted to get Ains to motion. The 4-5-6 sequence, the 4-5-6 sequence is not Resident Evil to me. Like that's not what I go to the series for. So I know people love 4, fantastic, but like that's not what I'm interested in. So you've got the 1, 2, 3s, you got the 4, 5, 6s, and now you've got the 7, 8, 9s. Look, all I'm saying, I'm empathizing with. Hey, if you played 1, 2, 3, and then 4 comes out, that is not your game. That is not Resident Evil as that transition happens. Doesn't mean you can't love it. Like I love Syndicate, the last of the linear action adventures, and I love Origins, but those are different games.
Yeah, very different games, no doubt.
It's funny because I'm that player. I played Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and all of the old Assassin's Creed, and whenever they changed it up, I was like, oh, fresh newness. I guess I'm the opposite. I have the opposite kind of response to when something's new or they change it up. I don't go, hey, this isn't what I signed up for. I go, oh, they changed it up.
No, you liked that one. But that's so I like both versions of Assassin's Creed. I'm saying I didn't much care for 4, but that's just going to depend on what the change is, right? If they took your series that you liked and changed it into a match 3, you would have some thoughts, even if that's new for the series.
But
Destiny 3 will be a card collecting game.
Yeah, see, if that happened, I would be super down. I mean, I was tweeting this week that they should add dating sim mechanics and turn-based combat to Destiny, and I stand by that because it would probably be better. So change things. There's no sacred cows in this industry. Just screw it. I almost said that word. Screw it, man. Let's just go full. Let's do it.
Make Destiny dating sim like Mass Effect 2. Could do that.
Yes.
All right. So we got Mirage.
I like dating sims. I bought one this week. Kaiju, if anybody's interested. A Kaiju dating sim. So
you Kaiju or the Kaiju date each other?
The Kaiju date each other. So you are a Kaiju and you get to choose between different Kaiju.
I would have been more interested if you dated a Kaiju.
There are games like that. There's games where you date. Yeah. So anyway, we can get into it.
How carefully do I have to read the ratings on these games, Travis?
The Kaiju one's fine. It's just kissing. But if you want the raunchy ones, you're going to be playing on Steam.
That was the exact opposite.
Yeah. I'm just letting you know, Hoeg. If it's on Xbox, it's not going to be that bad. It's basically going to have no. But if you buy it on
after playing Immortality, I don't even know if I believe that anymore.
God, I got to play that game more. I got to get into it.
I haven't played it at all, but I keep seeing people talk about it and hoping I'm not getting spoiled, but I've been reviewing constantly, so I haven't had a spare moment to play it. Yeah.
That's there's a lot of stuff in Immortality that says hello Xbox.
Fair enough.
Well, they did release what was that game that got censored on PlayStation? That got out on Xbox.
The one with the peeling the face off of the dead body.
Face. So Xbox isn't afraid of it. It's more just that I think dating sim creators, they know their audience and they know that
Martha is dead. Yeah.
Martha's dead.
No, and Immortality, right? Immortality is putting these things in a reason. It's commenting for it. It's not, it's art. But like, all I'm saying is in terms of what's on there,
Yeah.
That'll wake you up.
Yeah, I think what Hoeg is advocating for here is more raunchy dating sims on the PlayStation and Xbox stores, which
You know what's funny
I
about
can get behind. Let's do it, everyone.
And on
Let's
the
join
Switch.
together.
You know what's funny about the PlayStation
Full
store? So
frontal.
here's another side story. One of the things I like to do with the kiddos is just kind of go through the store and watch trailers, which is fun, right? But like, there's so much, let's just call it thirsty PlayStation content that is like on just like the thumbnails and screens. It's become a little bit more like, it's not really okay. So like I tend to not go through that store anymore with them, and that's like weird.
Interesting. I like that Travis just blurted out full frontal right before you started talking.
I'm just saying, give the people what they want. The consumers.
Is there
They
full
have
frontal
decided.
immortality? I would say that it is close.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm definitely playing Immortality after this.
God, don't put those. Don't make that be the way. How did I convince Travis?
All right. So Assassin's Creed, guys. So we've got Jesus Mirage next year. We talked about that. All right. Then we gave Codename Red, which we already knew about, but is their next open world RPG Assassin's Creed. It's going to take place in feudal Japan, which has been long requested, as we know. No other details given on that one. Then they gave Codename Hex, which is the other one that we kind of knew about from leaks, which is kind of, they said, unlike any AC game before, it's kind of this witch-based...
Oh, it's definitely witches.
Hexic type, yeah, something like that, hex-based thing. Then they said Codename Jade, which is their AAA mobile game in China.
Yep.
With touch controls. So that one missed me by a long target, but hopefully they make a great.
You know what I miss? They did those like two-dimensional, not really two-dimensional, but like flat-based. Do you remember those? They did like Assassin's Creed India.
There's a trilogy. China,
Assassin's Creed
India,
Russia.
What
was the other one? India, Russia,
China, India, and Russia.
Those were nice.
Played them all. Yeah, they're decent.
Yeah. So we'll see how that turns out. And then they did mention Assassin's Creed Infinity, which we've all heard about, which they did confirm is going to be like a hub for Assassin's Creed content, where you can kind of bounce around and bounce out. And they did say that they are looking at ways. They didn't announce it with any of these specific games, but they're looking at ways to bring multiplayer back to the Assassin's Creed universe.
That was the one announcement I'm down for.
Assassin's Creed multiplayer was some of the best stuff that some
underrated. Oh,
yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's good.
It was tremendous. The world's most rocking game of hide and seek. I love it.
I was addicted to that game. Got so into the meta, and like, you get like a poison off, and they don't even know that you're a non-NPC. Ooh, delightful.
For the record, folks, if you didn't watch this hour-and-a-half long slog into Ubisoft land, they were announced. Like, that was it. Like, you've got it. Ains just delivered the same news that Ubisoft did in a much longer fashion. Yep. There is nothing else. They didn't show games. They didn't really explain how Infinity is to work. I've got my theories. We could talk. They didn't actually say, other than feudal Japan, which was, I think they actually could have just left it as a teaser.
They showed a teaser. They showed a teaser.
It was a ninja on a rooftop with a giant rising sun behind him. I don't even know that they needed to explain what Codename Red was, but it was for what they set up. Like, if you watch this show in terms of expectations and audience setup, they start out with, wait for our Assassin's Creed presentation. It's going to be awesome. And they make you wait until the end and the last 20 minutes of it. And they told you nothing.
Yeah, they told you everything we already knew, really.
It was very underwhelming. And yes, they put a collector's edition pre-order and a pre-order link to a game without a date, and which they have not deigned to show you a screenshot of.
Sure.
That is party foul to me.
I'd be curious to see what those numbers look like, because I think it'll speak to what we were talking about earlier with the size of the audience that really wants that classic Assassin's Creed experience. If they're just so overhyped at that announcement alone that they're willing to pre-order this game.
I'm going to call party foul number 2.
Go for it.
Because I think the folks that are really looking at it most closely caught that they said linear action adventure, but there weren't bullets. There wasn't a paragraph about going back to basics. There wasn't a lot of highlighting that if you love Valhalla, this might be a different game. If you love Origins, there isn't a lot of underlining that fact. So I think they're both trying to signal that, yes, we're going to go do this old Assassin's Creed. We're not going to show it exactly because we want to collect pre-orders from the folks that love current Assassin's Creed. And then we'll convince you after the fact. Hey, I'm not saying Mirage won't be great. I love the old Assassin's Creeds. I'm hopeful. But like they're playing pretty vague with the fact that this is different.
That is fair. I agree with you. You're fair. And Gecko says you're throwing out the flags.
I think it'll be good. I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. I don't know that they've made one that I've just truly not enjoyed. Unity, maybe. I really hate Unity. Okay, Unity.
Assassin's Creed 3 too.
I like that you worked through that like in real time.
Well, I like Assassin's Creed 3
Unity's
enough.
bad. Really?
I like 3 enough. Yeah.
Oof.
So
I like building up the town.
I didn't play Unity, but I heard that obviously we know Unity's story of when it launched and the chaos that ensued there. But I thought I heard from, I at least heard from some people that now if you go play it now and it's all the issues mostly resolved, that it's actually not a bad game, but not true.
It's its design that's problematic more than its graphics.
Design.
It
shoehorns co-op too much. Yeah.
They were aimed at co-op and it's wrong.
Yep.
That's why it hasn't returned at all.
I got you. Okay, fair enough. Let me get these couple super chats. We got 2 from Mr. Gecko Gamer back in the house. He's got €5 super chat. AC has gone full circle and has become Prince of Persia.
That did look like Prince of Persia. I mean, like that was Baghdad. Yeah, I mean, it did.
And Prince of Persia can't even get their remake squared away. So that's a whole nother topic. But
that is interesting. They greenlit a Prince of Persia and Assassin's Creed Baghdad simultaneously.
Seemingly.
Okay.
I think Prince of Persia is probably going back to the drawing board because media people have played that game a few times now, and every time the feedback or the previews that come out are and then all of a sudden we don't hear anything about the release date, even though they were sort of hyping it up before as like, oh look, it's almost done. Come play it, reviewers and stuff. And
yeah, well, it got delayed, and then it got delayed indefinitely, which is never a good sign.
I think it's every time they let somebody play it, there's like so many red flags. And to their credit, they're not just pushing it out, but it's like the water cooler conversation on this one between games critics is like a little interesting. So,
well, what's funny is I think Prince of Persia had a long time in the wilderness after the trying to make it edgelord stuff in the 360 era. And then I thought they nailed it with the like colorful cartoony one. And I can't get that generation right. And then it like just never went on from there. It's a weird IP for them. And it also has this weird overlap problem, especially now with what is going to be the main Assassin's Creed for like a 3-year span on either side, being a Prince of Persia game. I mean, they're not wrong.
Well, it's got the time rewinding thing that's unique to it. So
they don't have to. I mean, that was only Sands of Time. Prince of Persia didn't start that way.
Let's go back to that. Sands of Time was good. So that's my vote. But I think they could make it unique because there's enough about Prince of Persia. It's not just the setting, I'm sure the online discussion about whether we need 2 pirate games or another feudal Japan game, I would say probably the Prince of Persia theme is probably pretty underutilized. We can have 2 of those.
Oh yeah, I'm all in for Baghdad. But you talk about Code Red, and I can't help but think they waited too long. I mean, I feel sated by Ghost of Tsushima. I know that their combat isn't going to be as good as Ghost of Tsushima. However you feel about it, Ains. I know you guys don't like it as much as I do, but like the combat is tight, and Assassin's Creed combat is not. It just is. It's never been.
It will be better than Assassin's Creed for sure.
Yeah. So
in the combat.
So I don't know what kind of game they're going to make, but they announced another expansion for Valhalla in the same, or they didn't announce it. I don't know if they announced it or not because I can't keep track of Valhalla enough. But I'm never going to finish Valhalla. And I've got Ghost of Tsushima, so I'm not.
What about Xenoblade? You gonna finish it?
You didn't have to do that to him. Didn't have to.
Xenoblade 3. Okay.
So what did I say last week? I'm at chapter 4 in like 58
Chapter
hours.
4,
I'm at
yeah.
chapter 4 in 58 hours. I played a lot of Dreamlight Valley.
There you go. There you go. Here's a long-winded question. By the way, Plague Injected says, is it possible it's being reworked into AC Mirage? Like they just move forward with AC Mirage and Prince of Persia takes a back seat.
It's a different studio, I think. From
Yeah,
what they've described.
Who knows? Gecko back again, 5-year super chat, and this is a tough one. How would you rank the existing AC games? So that's a broad question. A lot of games. I'm not well versed enough in Assassin's Creed. I haven't played them all.
It's something like Odyssey 2, Black Flag, Valhalla, Origins, Syndicate, 3, 1. I'm sure and Unity isn't on the list because I have rejected it entirely.
1 is your least favorite Assassin's Creed. Huh?
1 is the worst Assassin's Creed easily. Go play 1.
Wow.
So I hear, I mean, like I said, I'm not super well versed. I hear great things, generally speaking, about 2 because it did a lot of things better than 1. I hear Brotherhood is supposedly really good.
I put 2 as the 2 trilogy in that slot, but yes.
Okay, yeah. Brotherhood, Black Flag. I know people liked. I like that one.
Yeah, I would put 2 at the top.
Syndicate,
2 is
and
the
then
best one.
Seems
Odyssey's
like, at least anecdotally, Odyssey seems to be the favorite of the 3 RPG ones.
Odyssey's the best one. Odyssey is leaning in on Witcher type storytelling in places.
Yeah, I like Odyssey's definitely the best of the new ones. I think Assassin's Creed 2 is the best Assassin's Creed game. But yeah, I don't have any terrible problems with the list Hoeg provided. I think Assassin's Creed for me, it was really good at one point, and then it kind of went to middling, and I have always still played it, even though I kind of just think it's okay. You know, it's a 7 out of 10, as Dan would point out. And yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. 7 is time well spent. But yeah, I don't have super strong opinions on this, which is unusual. Except for I'll say Assassin's Creed 3, I think is really bad as a game. It's still giving you it's one of those games that still gives you tutorials in like the final conclusion. Like you'll be doing the final mission where you're like resolving the main conflict, and it'll be like pop-up screen, here's a new mechanic we're introducing, and I'm like, yo, what the hell? Yeah. So
yeah, it is imperfect, but I enjoyed. What do I go for Assassin's Creed for? This is similar to our Spiders conversation. I am basically there for historical tourism and being amazed at what resources and tens of millions of hours of time can put out there when you're in Origins and you're walking by the Nile and you can look at all the baskets of fruit and watch all the animations, and that's just amazing to me. So that's cool. Assassin's Creed is the only ones doing that, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
It's a good reason to play it.
I really love the mythology stuff in Odyssey too. Like,
it's so good.
It's good. Just to defend Dan for a hot second while he's not here, I will tell you guys, because this was before both of you, I think, were on the show, which is that the ongoing joke with Dan being a 7, right, is from Valhalla when he reviewed Valhalla for us, and he gave it a 7. And at the time, that was below the meta, below the expectation when Valhalla released. Because remember, this was supposed to be the Witcher 3 Assassin's Creed, right? It was pegged as that pre-release.
Everyone is trying to.
They even talked about Witcher 3, the development team did, and
Odyssey. You're thinking of Odyssey, so Valhalla is actually them backing off that. I can show you the quotes where they say we're taking RPG elements out because we're trying to return to our roots. I can show you.
I can show you as well. The quotes about their side quest design and how they're aiming for Witcher 3 level side quests in Valhalla. Trust me, they're out there.
I swear you're thinking of Odyssey. Okay, all right, we'll have this fight later. Odyssey has all the Witcher quotes. Valhalla has all the we don't really have side missions in it. We have emergent events. Like it's the opposite.
Okay. So we'll take this offline.
Where's the verses? Where's the verses?
The verses doesn't actually work.
It'll be on my face.
Because
Perfect.
It doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. But no, Dan gave it a 7, and that became a running joke that he underscored Valhalla, and he's like, dude, he put over 100 hours into it. He's like, this game's a 7. I'm telling you, it's a 7. So it's kind of interesting.
I would say it's a 7 at the highest, personally.
I'd have it as an 8.
Well, see, I think my point, Travis, is I think as time has gone on, more people have tended to agree with Dan that it wasn't as high as others might have had it.
Recency bias is really brutal for a lot of games. People just they want you to. They're either trying to justify their own purchase or they're over enthusiastic about it. But yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I think yelling about it online is the problem, because I have no problem with somebody being excited for something and staying in that excitement loop and finding the silver lining, even if something isn't exactly as perfect as they want it to be. And positivity is a good thing. It's fighting about somebody arguing the opposite that's the real problem.
That's fair. All right. So anything else on this, guys, before we jump over to Disney's games?
No, I wish they would have shared more information with us on everything.
Yeah. All right. So Disney had their event. I'm not going to cover the whole
no
thing.
Avatar. I should point out, no Avatar.
Oh yeah.
Avatar was supposed to come out this year.
Honestly, the stuff they didn't show there is honestly, I think that's the story, is like the stuff they didn't show that's sort of appalling, like Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Now that's not a game, and it never was.
But like no mention, no update. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, it's a bad show. It's a bad show.
Yeah.
We'll let you move on, Ains.
Sorry, Ains.
20 minutes
No.
I'm the one that asked us to try to finish on time, and I'm busy here giving personal anecdotes. So I'm
trying.
to blame.
But no, you're right. I hadn't even thought about the fact that Avatar didn't show up, and we won't even bring up Young Good and Evil 2, because that's something else at this point. All right, so Disney and Marvel, the D23 Expo, just a couple games I wanted to mention from there. Obviously, there's a lot more. There's other stuff in that presentation, but we did get the release date for Midnight Suns, which is now going to launch on December 2nd. Again, that's kind of a unique take on a Marvel game with its whole card system, and we'll see how that ends up.
Be good. I really want to
hide it so much. They hid that game as they announced its date. They didn't. I don't know that they have any faith in that game.
Hoeg.
By the way, they don't have any faith in it. Doesn't mean it won't be good. They don't think it's going to make them money. How about that, Travis?
That I think they do believe, because I think they know they don't have the star power of Mario versus Rabbids, and they're afraid that they're just going to be, the
star power of Mario.
I'm sorry, they do have star power.
America and Wolverine.
But here's the thing, they do. They have
star power, and Mario and Rabbids was a funny statement.
I love it.
It's true. But Mario and Rabbids in that cartoon, that's. People are going to eat that up in a certain range, and age range. I mean, and I think the problem with Midnight Suns is they're worried it's just going to be like, what was that? Mutant Year Zero. You remember that game?
I do remember that game. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what they're afraid that they're creating, is like another turn-based game that people kind of look at and they go, oh, that's cool. Nah. Don't play it.
I hadn't thought about that in a long time, but that was a kind of nifty little game.
It was
a nifty game, and it's an even better tabletop RPG.
Okay,
which is where it comes from.
How many people do you think are going to buy Midnight Suns and not realize that it's a card-based kind of tactical game?
Are they going to go without screenshots? Like the way they have marketed this game is like, we are embarrassed by this creation, and so like you could just put up the PlayStation Store page and just be one of those games where you're like, we give you nothing.
Well, the teaser they showed from this event, like the new minute-long teaser, was all like action shots.
Yes.
I mean, that's my point, right? It's like, it feels like there's going to be people going into this game thinking you're getting a Marvel, like a Marvel Alliance, Ultimate Alliance type game, like a full-on action game, when it's not what it is.
I don't know. Sometimes you see this with companies where they don't know what they've got. They don't know how to sell it. They don't know who to sell it to. And I think they built this thing with a Marvel license, which ostensibly should be something like 4-quadrant and be an easy sell. And, their XCOM team came out with this, and they're like, okay. And then PR's like, whatever, make a cartoon, make it all yellow, send it out there.
Make it all yellow.
Wasn't it all yellow? It was all yellow and black, right?
They use yellow and black for everything. Yeah. Well, that's coming out December 2nd. Obviously, we'll see how that lands. The other thing we got the first kind of look, or tease, I should say, of the game being made by Skydance, which is Amy Hennig's studio we've heard about for a while now. Supposedly a AAA game that's going to feature Captain America, Black Panther, and 2 other characters. And according to the press release, it says that it's going to be a, quote, I mean, this is as generic as it gets, but thrilling narrative experience set in World War II with these characters. So World War II setting, Captain America, Black Panther, and a narrative-driven comic game from Amy Hennig and Skydance.
I don't mean to be like that guy, but who asked for this?
It wasn't what I expected, is the way
I will say I prefer games being things that players didn't ask for, because players have really bad ideas. Really bad ideas. If you give the players what you ask for, you end up with Assassin's Creed Red. That's what you get, Code Red, like the Mountain Dew.
It could, I don't know. It could be fine.
Whether or not it's a good idea is separate, but I'll say following the cues or desires of your audience is, generally speaking, a terrible idea. But
you look at when Amy Hennig shows some of what they were working on with Star Wars. You say, okay, I see how that works. That could be cool. I'm looking forward to that. Captain America, Black Panther, World War II. That doesn't even get me out of bed.
Go on.
Doesn't sit me up in bed. I'm not even.
Give it a try.
Of course, I'll give it a try.
You're gonna give me an opportunity to punch some Nazis? Let's do it. As long as it's like the cover of the first episode, the first comic of Captain America, where he's punching Adolf Hitler in the face.
Yeah.
Classic moment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll go beat up some Nazis with Cap and Black Panther. Yeah. Sure.
I mean, Hoeg, I would just say, like, tell me more. Like I'm within the same boat as you. Is like I'm not
on a teaser level. I usually am. Tell me more. That's why it's such a bad, like, look. It's just subjective. It's just people, right? But it's like I look at that teaser and say,
teaser shows kind of suck. Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't. It's not even. But usually I would be like, all right, I'll just put that in the back pocket. Wait to see more. And it's like you could wow me later, and that would be great. But nope, that one's not even in my back pocket. It's funny how you think about resources and like making games and things, but it's like, oh, okay, I guess Amy Hennig's off the board for 6 years or something like that, because it's unlikely that she's gonna make something I like.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm just gonna point to.
You can't use that every time.
I can.
This is the exception that proves the rule. See, this is the problem. Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's a fallacy. And you know it. I know you know that's a logical fallacy.
Horrible show. Doesn't look good. Turns out to be my favorite game of the year. Has happened once. You cannot base your predictions on that.
No, but you can base the idea of hope on that. It proves that hope is real. It proves that it is.
I need a new hope.
You need a new hope. So now we're going to call this game. We're going to call this game Captain America and Black Panther in World War II. Subtitle: A New Hope.
I want that, Travis. Now I so want that to be the title: Captain America and Black Panther in World War II. That's the title.
That'd be amazing.
Good luck, journalists.
Yeah, that would suck. As the creating titles, we'd have to come up with some. Yeah. Anyway,
that's what we're getting. So I don't know. We'll see more. Obviously, they didn't really show anything other than the character standing there. So
it was that pure teaser.
They did show newspaper. The Toy Story DLC though for Dreamlight Valley.
Yeah.
Another IP.
Well, expansion. We don't expect it to be a DLC. I wouldn't say. Not on their model.
Right. The word DLC is outdated, but yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, the more content.
Yeah. More content.
Update. They call them updates now.
Content drop. Yeah. Well, and the rest of the show was primarily hope you like mobile, right? Like that's what I took away from most of the show.
That's what we're taking away from a lot of shows. Is mobile is where the money is. So don't expect it to stop anytime soon.
Well, that's fine, but their focus this is not an investor show, right? This is a consumer show.
Understood.
And it's not, to me, it's like mobile audience is great. Go get that money. I'm a corporate lawyer. Go nuts. But the people that are tuning into your Ubisoft Forward are tuning into your Disney Marvel show probably aren't those people. You probably want to aim that at things that they might be more directly interested in. I don't know that there are a lot of people that are, getting real excited about mobile titles in general. You go and you prove yourself in that particular arena more than videos and podcast commentaries and things like that.
That's probably fair. Yeah. All right. So speaking of shows, CD Projekt Red is back, showing us more Cyberpunk. So we've got their Night City Wire this week. As a Cyberpunk fan, I liked what I saw. So let's cover what they showed. So they talked about Edgerunners, right? The Netflix anime that's coming out. Then the same day, they released update 1.6 for Cyberpunk, which is out now, obviously. It includes a few new gigs, which are like missions, has several new weapons, some secrets. You can get some Edgerunners content in there, a bunch of bug fixes and updates and all that normally comes with an update. Primarily, the big thing they announced is that 1.6 is the final update for the old consoles. So the PS4 and Xbox One will no longer be supported with new updates, nor will they get the Cyberpunk expansion, which I found really interesting. So they then said, before they got to the expansion, though, the core developer, I forget the gentleman's name that was on the show, said that they have more updates coming in the future for Cyberpunk. The next update will be a big one because it will redesign vehicular combat and the entire policing model for the police within the city.
They're reforming the police.
Well, they had to defund them, and then they had to
fund the development,
the whole thing.
So he seemed excited about that, I guess. I kind of read between the lines of these are things that obviously they talked about earlier on with the game, as we all know, and that we hoped were part of a bigger part of the game, but for whatever reason they likely couldn't do it with old consoles. So here you go, they're dropping old console support. So you're giving me that confused look, Hoeg.
I thought, I thought this presentation was bad. But part of that is I thought they had this presentation too early. I think you hold for that 1.7.
I agree.
They basically said, we got real good stuff. Get excited again at some indeterminate point in the future again for one expansion that will be the only expansion we later at least seemingly found out to Cyberpunk at some indeterminate point in the future again. Please trust us. And I don't... they're doing this in September of 2022. That's almost 2 years from release of the game. And they don't have anything exciting to tell you in this for right now. Like, to me, you don't have this show. You've gone dark. You have no expectation from anybody that you're going to put on a show. You don't do this show until you can actually do something of a shadow drop that makes people excited. And that didn't happen. I mean, like, that to me is a total failure. I have no idea what they're doing with their PR or their management over there, because I think they keep making wrong decisions on maximizing what is a decent asset.
I'd push back a little bit, only because they did drop 1.6 on the same day. We didn't know that was coming.
Can you tell me what 1.6 does?
Yeah, I just said it. So it's 3 new missions. It's got 5 new melee weapons, 6 new range weapons, Edgerunners content, rework some of the vehicle stuff, things like that.
So that 1.6 is a contract requirement with Netflix. Like, that's obvious, right?
Could be.
Well, I mean, Edgerunners launching.
Well, yeah, Edgerunners content for sure, but there's more in it than just Edgerunners content.
They're still supporting the game.
Yeah, it's just an update. It's a game update. That's all it is. Yeah. So
I will say
Liberty's coming in 2023. So again, no date, and who knows if it actually drops in 2023. Yes, quotes for sure. But the teaser I thought looked really strong, and it is in a new region of Night City, so they're expanding the city as well.
Is it in a new region?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I didn't see that as part of the announcement.
I don't know why, to your point, I don't know why he mentioned the next update. It seemed, like I said, it seemed like he was excited about it and wanted to.
I think it was way too small without mentioning 1.7. I think it would have been worse to not mention it. Like, there's levels of worse, right? So I think mentioning 1.7 is good.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. But that's it. Anyway, I am excited. I mean, like I said, I like Cyberpunk. There's no deadline for when, I expect anything on that game. I've come to not expect. I'm not putting a time on when things get delivered, but when they are delivered, I will play them. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'll say this. Decision to drop on old consoles is great. I think part of the reason Cyberpunk had such a snafu is because they did support the old consoles. They probably should have been a next gen only game, current gen. That would have saved them a lot of heartache, surely. And I like that they're still supporting the game, even though they had a very enormous and public stumbling block with various launches. There's always room for another No Man's Sky story, redemption arc. That's
I love that Travis is the optimistic, positive person here on this episode.
I love that he's the optimist. You're the pessimist in this case, anyway.
Well,
And
so no,
Aren't I
I'm
always the optimist? Maybe I just
mentioned-
perceive myself differently. I feel like I'm always the optimist.
always the optimist.
I'm the optimist until you release your game, and then I'm really hard on it. But I'll never prejudge your game. I'm gonna be on your
But I'm a
side until
corporate
you put
message
it
guy,
out.
right? Like that's half of what I cover on my channel. So I look at this as how did you do? And by the way, all the articles I'm reading are that this expansion is in Pacifica, which is what I assumed it was because Pacifica is empty in the game that they released.
That's fair.
So I don't know if that's the case because I thought it was Pacifica, but I didn't know whether I was just adding that in my brain. So I look at this as an opportunity. You go dark forever. No Man's Sky goes dark and then explodes with content. Like that was the plan. That worked. That was why they were smart. This is, I guess they have to have this show to tell the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One they're out of luck. I guess that's what it is, but that makes it's a negative show, right? We're going to not support this thing that we said that it was built for a number of times. We're being sued for fraud over that, by the way. And we are going to now proceed to actually finish this game up the way it should. Everything else is still, it's a failed project. It's, what you would like from Witcher 3, which is you got those 2 big expansions. You're only going to get one. You're going to get it 3 years after we release the game. It's going to be in a region that already exists. As far as I know, it could be a new region. Okay.
It says I'm on the Cyberpunk official site right here. It says a spy thriller expansion for Cyberpunk 2077 set in an all-new district of Night City.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's on their official site. So I don't know who's reporting it's in Pacifica, but that's not what they said.
Okay.
Yeah. But so we'll see what that looks like though, because to your point, to be fair to your original comment, Pacifica is pretty empty in the game. And it's clear that they seemingly anyway, it's pretty clear to me that they seemingly had more planned for Pacifica, right?
Something had to get ripped out of Pacifica, right?
Yeah. So it wouldn't have surprised me. So if this is going to be a new district, are they going to continue with these other updates to add more, to Pacifica or other places? I don't know.
This is a NorCal joke, but it's kind of funny that Pacifica is really empty because there's a place near San Francisco called Pacifica, and there's nothing there either. So I think the developers of Earth had similar design choices.
You think it's I thought you were gonna say it's a long-term, very inside joke.
Yeah, it could be that. Maybe they have friends
Northern
here.
California.
Yeah, they're from NorCal.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. Like I said, to me, like, I guess I'm of the opinion where when there's good content for a game, even if it's a game that's years old, right, that comes out that's new, I'll go back and check it out if I enjoyed it, right? So whether or not Phantom Liberty comes out in January, which it's not, or it comes out in December of 2025, as long as it's good and interesting, I'll still go back and play it. I'll criticize them. I'll criticize them for the communication and everything you just mentioned, but I'll still play it.
Yeah, no, when a game comes out and it's interesting and it's worth playing, absolutely. You should 100% play it. This is all kind of about the business of things on this from where I'm speaking. Also, I guess I had a question. Did they ever have like a season pass for this, or did they ever have like a pre-buy of the expansion?
So I don't think so. However, there was a funny caveat this week, which you're going to love if you didn't see this, Hoeg. So someone like me, of course, right? Actually sitting right there, I have the Cyberpunk Xbox One X, the licensed one that they made, right? With that.
Oh, they had like one that's like
that.
It's got like special bits on it, or no stencils. Oh my goodness.
That's ugly as hell.
Well, they always are.
Hey, that Gears of War one's beautiful.
So,
Xbox One S Gears of War one. I bought that one.
Samurai. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
Anyway, so if you bought this, it came with the game, of course, and it came with all future content for the game. They came out this week and said that coming to that system. Exactly. So they came out this week and said that people who own this, like me, will be getting an Xbox Live credit in the future to make up for the lack of the expansion being available on that console. True story.
Oh my God, that is embarrassing.
Man, I have interesting questions about the contracts and most specifically the accounting of that liability.
This is illegal, dude. You gotta make an
I
episode.
didn't look into
Research
it,
this. You got to make an
into it.
episode about this.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tricky to account for because you've got Xbox Live. That's their debt.
Well, and the bigger question, right? So let's say Phantom Liberty comes out and it's $30. I'm making this up, right? Is the credit going to be the full amount, or is the credit only going to be partial?
It'll have to be the full amount, or they get torn apart. Like that's the easiest.
I think Ains. I think the DLC is going to be free, and I think the Xbox Live credit is just go buy something else.
I don't think the DLC is
that
free.
Expansion is not free.
You don't think so?
No, there's no way, and I think people
are trying to
probably
sell
be
you more
disappointed with it because the Witcher 3 expansions were notoriously underpriced. That was one of the ways that they won goodwill, was that they were like the cheapest, longest expansions ever. I don't think they'll do that again with Cyberpunk. So no, thanks, Ains, for flagging me both on the new region, which I didn't know, and also that apparently somebody was supposed to get an expansion that they didn't get, and they're scrambling to figure out how to not get killed on it.
Nowhere to be found. Yeah. That's a really cool controller, though. The controller that came with it is, or that you could buy, actually. You could buy it as well. It looks like Johnny Silverhand's gun. It's like,
I thought you were going to say it looks like him. It's just like a little Keanu face.
Keanu is back. Did you see he's back for the expansion, by the way? So
yeah,
I haven't finished the story, but I would assume he has to be back unless something happens. So
you didn't finish Cyberpunk story, really?
I'm you know the story here. I didn't really like it at the 1.0 launch, but when they did the 2.0, was in January or February of this year, I got back into it and I've been playing through it, but I've been playing through it at the Travis has to review games every single week pace, and one of them was Xenoblade. So yeah, I'm gonna finish it eventually. I'm really enjoying it, by the way. I'm now on team Cyberpunk wasn't as bad as it was originally. So
it just was nowhere near The Witcher is the biggest problem.
Yeah, it obviously was.
It's kind of a shame.
Hoeg, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I kind of felt like it was never going to be Witcher as soon as they announced it was first person.
That was a bad choice. That was a
mistake. Yeah.
Witcher 3, it's tough, right? Because Witcher 3, and especially in my opinion, I've talked about it a million times, is I think one of the greatest games of all time. So it's like Cyberpunk, I really, really like. Like I love that game, but it just it was never going to be Witcher 3 again. And I don't know. Anyway.
Maybe we need pre-selected characters.
Well, that's a whole. We're not going down that road right now.
That one. Anyway,
I think if you're going to try to make a cinematic game, first person is the wrong answer. Period.
That's a fair criticism too. So
it's also weirdly less immersive.
It is.
Am I the one that feels that way? It's less immersive, even though it is like the most immersive version of. Yeah. Anyway, so
I think the industry has kind of discovered that, right? Like when first person really got big, it was like you just see your hand and you're the character. And
now it's a VR thing.
Yeah, I think over time it's kind of
VR is pretty damn immersive if they get it right. But yeah, no, look, Cyberpunk is fine-ish. It's probably a 6 to me.
Oof, wow.
All right, we'll come back.
You described that as fine-ish, right? With major flaws.
Okay. Yeah, it's a 6.
6 is okay-ish, yeah. All right. Anyway, yeah, but in all seriousness, so that's what they announced this week. I would love to see you break that down and go into the details more.
If you've got a link to that press release or that note, let it to me. I'll see if I can do a video.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check after this. One last thing to touch on is that Battlefield, speaking of Jesus.
Somebody said something about Battlefield this week?
Battlefield, yes. So EA talked about it. And so if you remember Marcus Leto, who was part of the original Halo core design team, Halo CE, Halo 2. He then left. Years later, he created his own company, which is escaping me right now. They came out with that game Disintegration, remember? Like 2 years ago, year and a half ago. It was a game, third-person multiplayer game. It came out, kind of made waves, but then disappeared. Yes. Disappeared very quickly, and he had to shut his studio down. Basically, they didn't make the money and et cetera. So he then was kind of, I guess, just sitting out there for a bit. But then he joined EA about 6 months ago, maybe earlier this year, to work on Battlefield. They came out this week and said that his studio is called Ridgeline Games. It's a new studio, and it is part of the studio effort that EA is investing to the future of Battlefield. And they said, quote, this week that they are all in on Battlefield and want Battlefield to be a premier FPS again in the industry. So they have 5 studios dedicated to Battlefield, including DICE, of course, Ridgeline. I forget the names of the others right now. I'm sorry. But that they have, quote, learned from 2042. And by the way, this is in the exact same press release where they're talking about still updating 2042. But apparently Ridgeline Games, led by Marcus Lato, is going to focus on narrative campaigns for Battlefield into the future. So really, I just bring this up. I mean, I've got the press release link here. I bring this up to say I'm like many others, I feel very confused as to what EA is doing with Battlefield. I don't know, man. They've got 5 studios here now. They said they're going to do narrative campaigns. They're already in pre-production on their next Battlefield game, and that they're
I thought they were in pre-production on their current Battlefield game. No,
it's fair.
2 things can be true.
2 things true at the same time. And remember, don't forget that they also in this press release remind us that Vince Zampella is part of this team now, helping to lead the creative vision for Battlefield, because he seems to be the only one who can deliver a proper first-person shooter experience for EA to begin with, as the head of Respawn. So, yeah, with Apex and obviously Titanfall and whatever else they're working on. So I don't know. This is weird to me. By the way, it's DICE, Ripple Effect, Industrial Toys, Ridgeline Games, and core EA studios working on Battlefield. So I don't know. I'm one of those guys who adored Battlefield in its prime. Bad Company 2 is still one of my favorite first-person shooters of all time. I mean, just a brilliant, brilliant game. And I was very pumped about 2042 because they said all of this with 2042 previously, that they were all in for it, and they had 6 studios working on it, et cetera, et cetera. And 2042, excuse me, was a disaster. A disaster at epic proportions. I played
like
in
the real 2042 will probably be.
Yeah, always the optimist. Remember earlier in the video?
Somebody has to speak out against this global climate change crisis, Hoeg. If not now, then when?
We've already got that in Splatoon.
There you go. So I remember playing in the alpha and just being like mouth open at how broken it was and unfinished. And anyway, I won't rant on about it. I have before, but I don't know what you guys think about this, but they are fully 100% in the camp of I'm doubtful and you have to prove it to me.
How fitting that the company making Battlefield seems to be at war with itself.
I like to think Travis comes up with these halfway through, like the Ains summary of what's going on. And there's just
rumbling around in his head.
A sequence of like trailer lines that Travis, and then he carefully curates and selects for your viewing pleasure the one that he wants to go.
That is exactly what happens. That's the mind of a comedian. Anytime somebody's talking, I'm thinking, how can I make this funny? And then I'm just going through and trying to pick the best one.
I don't know the last time that I have enjoyed a Battlefield experience. I'm open to
you and every soldier.
I'm open to any.
I'm muting him.
War is hell. War is hell.
He's muted. He's done.
I'm open to them trying again. But like the thing about Battlefield, the campaigns especially, is that how lifeless and hollow they always are. Even the dumb Call of Duties, the bad ones, or at least like, well, we're a stupid action movie. Mm-hmm. And Battlefield is always just like, why am I wasting my time? So I hope them the best. I want more and better games out there. I didn't recognize half of those companies you just said are working on the Battlefield project. I don't know. DICE has had major failures in its last 3 big releases, last 4.
I mean, I know some people. Battlefield 1 was. I know some people really enjoy. I would say that Battlefield 4 was their last kind of universal acclaimed hit, and even that launched with a lot of issues.
Yeah, that was broken.
Yeah, so
good game though.
Yeah. I think of the Battlefronts. I think of Battlefield 5. I think of Battlefield 2042.
Mm-hmm.
Battlefront is a different series. Are you?
Battlefront is still DICE. I was talking about DICE.
Oh, I see. You're talking about DICE
Studio. Yeah.
And they're Battlefield games as made by DICE.
I mean, Battlefront 2.
It's a good game now.
started awfully.
Yeah.
Battlefront 2 launched awfully.
I think there's a little bit more internet being mad at things that weren't actually in the game than because it wasn't actually, it never launched with the microtransaction stuff that people talk about. It was anyway.
It still wasn't great at launch.
Oh no, it had terrible shooting mechanics that they had to tighten up. Like at 1.5, it had awful crap in Battlefront 2.
I liked Battlefront 2. I had a lot of fun with that game when it came out. I was like, oh, look at them. They did it.
I get it. You like the shiny, frostbite battle droids. I get it, Travis.
Yeah, it was a better Battlefront 1. Nice.
Was Battlefront 2 the Return of the Jedi?
Battlefront 1 was the cash grab.
Not Return of the Jedi. Last Jedi is what I meant to say.
No, it's not that good. I'm saying that game's probably like a 7 out of 10, but people treated it like it was like Cyberpunk because of microtransactions that never were actually in the game. But yeah, I think there's a lot of like weird internet hate for that game when it's misplaced, because I think a lot of people didn't play that game and just joined the hate train.
Day one.
There you go.
I am dealing with
joining. Dismiss me as an internet rando. I dislike.
You're not an internet rando, bro. You can't play that anymore.
Their progression system was messed up, and they really like loot boxes as a concept. We're set up to monetize it, and then got freaking crushed.
This is one of the they clearly were set up to monetize it, but that was never in the game. It was like early. It was
loot boxes as a concept were as the progression system entirely. It was all randomized.
No, that's not true. You could unlock characters using points that you earned in the game. Like I unlocked all of the heroes just playing the game, and people were like, "Oh, it's impossible. It's designed to make you pay money." And I was like, "No, it's not." Like I played it for like 10 hours. I got all the characters. It wasn't even that hard.
It was designed to make you pay money. It just that you didn't pay money.
Yeah, that's the point of all microtransaction systems, right? Is that you can unlock everything if you just play it, or you can pay money if you're.
No. Philosophically, there's a distinction. Like this is the all money store versus the Assassin's Creed. Are you bored by the bars that we make you fill? Like there are different versions of microtransactions, and by making it loot box and random and various of the other things that they did in Battlefront 2, they were encouraging slot machine pulls. They never wound up going that far with them because they got absolutely crushed. This is the same era as Need for Speed introduces loot boxes, right? I mean, this is EA being dumb as shit.
Yeah, but I agree. The internet's hate for the microtransaction system made them change their tune in time for the game to launch. But the game that actually launched didn't have those problems, from my perspective. They fixed it before it became a problem. They nipped it in the bud.
Well, I'm going to have to remember the history here, but they never until they changed. It was still loot box oriented, so it was still uncompelling and unfun to grow in Battlefront 2.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, Travis. We may have to check the timeline on that one. I'm pretty sure they launched with a bad system in place and had to fix it post.
No, it was pre-launch for the game. Everybody, and to credit where credit is due. If the viewers and readers and people that were hyped for the game didn't do the backlash, it probably would have launched in that way. But I was somebody who wasn't involved in the early coverage of that and was just kind of seeing the news. And then I was like, all right, I'll pick it up. And I played it, and I was like, what are people talking about? And it was because they changed it before it became a problem. But
I legitimately don't remember it that way. But that could be my old brain not remembering.
We are seasoned. It's true.
Fair enough. Sorry.
No, that's all good. I was just gonna say that to your point, Hoeg. Obviously, I prefer the two different currencies way of doing it. But no matter what, like even we were talking about Disney Dreamlight Valley, like that has a pay if you want to skip all the stuff that is sort of irritating to do vibe to it. I mean, all season passes have that. It's part of the season pass model.
Yeah, speed up your if you're just want everything right away.
Which I hate because it encourages boring game design. It's like, hey, let's make our game needlessly grindy so that we can provide a way to pay through it. But yeah.
Fair enough. Afropunk asked about Battlefield Hardline was at DICE. DICE worked on it, but that was primarily Visceral Games, and it was their take on a Battlefield game at the time. So no, and Visceral Games, as we know, is gone. EA shut them down. So yeah, there's that. Let me get the super chat from Gio Rio in the house. 10 euro super chat. He says, is Witcher 3 still getting the upgrade before they go Unreal 5? Will Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 be with Game Pass? Enjoy your Sunday, guys. So Witcher 3, CD Projekt Red did confirm Witcher 3 new gen upgrade is still coming before the end of the year. They said that this week. So yes, Unreal 5 is going to be used for the new Witcher game. Not, they're not changing the current Witcher game to Unreal 5. And will Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 be with Game Pass? I would absolutely say no.
I would say yes.
You think Modern Warfare 2 is going to be on Game Pass in November?
It's Call of Duty.
No, there's no chance in November. Microsoft doesn't own Activision, Travis.
I know that, but
Call of Duty's never been on Game Pass before.
But they're certainly talking. Those teams are working together, right?
Call of Duty almost certainly has an exclusive marketing agreement with Sony right now, and part of that
right, because they still have that thing in place. Yeah, okay. I forgot about that existing deal. That doesn't end for a couple of years, huh?
It's 3 more releases is the most current rumor.
Got it. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if this were just a normal release and the way that these companies are planning on merging or creeping ever closer to that, I would assume that they would have some sort of deal set up. But yeah,
no, I suspect
it sounds like it's not a possibility. Yeah.
What you probably will see, right, is what we've seen before, is whenever this deal we've talked, I know Hoeg's talked a ton about it, but whenever this kind of goes through or does go through, what have you, you're going to see all the IPs themselves land on Game Pass, right? So you'll see all the collection of Call of Duties and the collection of other games.
It wouldn't surprise me if one of the things that they were figuring out, because they'll have so much stuff from Activision, is probably a rotating slate on Game Pass.
Could be.
Yeah. I would probably, if I were them on a business model side, and they have however many economists they have working on this kind of stuff internally, is say, we're going to want to give enough so it feels like we're giving a lot, but we don't want to give everything because we can keep people in the subscription service. And honestly, it is marginally less useful to have 15 Call of Duties than to have, whatever that number is that we find. So I would guess, I would be willing to guess they have a Call of Duty Spotlight every month, even, but depending on what they do. But
interesting.
Yeah, that would be who knows? This is pure speculation. It's what I would do. But that's with so many assets, you don't just dump them in there because they're just less valuable. You get overwhelmed. That
could be. Yeah. I think at least in terms of timeline right now and how things work out, I think the potential for the biggest kind of AAA IP landing in Game Pass out of this deal will be Diablo 4. Depending on when Diablo 4 launches, and depending if this deal gets done and when that gets done, there's obviously things that have to line up. But Diablo 4 would be a very big kind of thing.
The more they describe Diablo 4, the more I am amazed that it's not free to play.
Yeah. I know you're not big on it from what we've seen. And I have some reservations as well. I will say that. But, no matter what we think, Diablo as an IP, right? Massive.
People love Diablo. I will get it when it's free to play.
Fair
or
enough.
On Game Pass, as you say.
Yeah.
It'll be on Game Pass. Yeah. And I think that even if the PlayStation deal wasn't a thing, they would have put this Call of Duty on Game Pass just because of their, this is their relationship now, regardless of whether it has gone through yet. I think we've seen that with other stuff they've acquired, where when they announced the acquisition or it was public, then you start seeing their games on Game Pass, and sometimes they would even use what games are on Game Pass to predict acquisitions. Remember that? There's a lot of games from this studio going on. Yeah,
most of their deals, the smaller ones, most of their deals were announced when they were closed. They were not pre-announced. Yeah. So your Double Fines, your Obsidians, those were all shadow dropped for a company. But yeah, I don't think any Bethesda stuff went up early. I think I would remember that.
No, I think it did. I think because that one they announced and then it didn't close for a while, right? It was like
yes, yep, that was about it. Yes, there was a closing period. It was a big one,
and I think some of their stuff ended up on Game Pass during that period. I don't think it was the new stuff, but they put like some of the old things on there. Okay, did they not?
I don't remember, because the old stuff I would consider as ordinary course of business kind of stuff, because ZeniMax a big publisher, so I wouldn't have even taken note of Skyrim going up or whatever.
Yeah. I don't remember, honestly. All right, boys. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up for today for everything we need to talk about. I know it is football season kicking off as we're ending the show. Hoeg is ready to rock. I know Travis is going to go binge NFL the rest of the day. You know how he
Travis
does.
is such a big. You guys don't know this. He is
Too much sports.
hardcore.
Big time. Big time. So any of your like crazy NFL predictions or things you really like to see, make sure to DM him. Because he
DM
just
him tweets to Travis about all the NFL scores, any kind of movements. Also, he loves to hear about people's Final Fantasy. Fantasy. You've got your Final Fantasy Football League. Yeah, your Fantasy Football League. He loves to hear about that. So just send him your messages. He doesn't. He's shy about it, so he's not going to admit it here. But he loves to get that content.
Yeah. He runs 4 different leagues, and like
I would believe.
He genuinely likes to take advice about players and who to start and you know what's going on in the league. So just hit him up.
Yeah, and send Hoeg and Ains your dick pics.
Well, that escalated quickly.
There you go. You guys forced my hand.
All right. Well, let me continue with this outro appropriately here. We'll go. Yeah, I got nothing. All right. What you got going on, man?
I got hangouts and headlines. I got virtual legalities. I got lawyers and dragons, all at the Hoeg Law YouTube channel, youtube.com/HoegLaw, or follow me on Twitter for football hot takes and hopefully nothing extra on Twitter at Hoeg Law as well.
Fair enough. Travis, let's hear it.
I'm actually working on nothing for IGN right now, but I put out a ton of stuff this week that you can look at. I did a preview for an action adventure game called Asterigos or Asterigos. Yeah, I think it's Asterigos. The review for Steelrising, the review for Disney Dreamlight Valley. And I'm sure I will get a new assignment on Monday, but this is my first weekend in a while where I wasn't crunching for some review, which has been fantastic. Been able to catch up on Destiny. Going to try to play some Immortality, catch up on some of the games I missed. Cool. So really excited about that. You can follow me on Twitter at TagGuyTravis. I talk about Destiny on Thursdays if you care about that. And definitely football, sports, 7 points, extra point, field goal.
And that's why he's the master, folks.
That's good. That's good. Good analysis right there. As always, you know where to find me and the rest of the Season Gaming crew. And thank you so much for your support. As always, I did take a look at a new gaming chair, which I talked about last week. So that video is up if you are interested in that for any reason. Videos coming on this statue and the Aloy Horizon statue this week as well as new Patreon content as well. And hopefully an interview with someone in the industry coming very soon as well. So check that out. We also have reviews going up for, I know, NBA 2K23, as well as the game that's coming to Game Pass next week, I believe, is Hellsinger, right? The musical Doom game, which I'm sure we'll touch more.
The game looks cool.
Yeah, so that review is as well. So take a look or keep an eye out for those, I should say. So a lot of content in the works. But thank you, as always, guys. You've been awesome. Chat, you've been great today. Thank you so much. Appreciate all the support. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. And Mr. Rodriguez, hit the 7 himself, should be back next week. Until then, we will see you next Sunday. Have a good one. Peace.